Welcome to Epic Stage Journeys and Then Some. And now, here's your host, Gavan.
Okay, you're not going to believe this, but I have a list, and I call it the unicorn list because I've invited these people that I haven't seen in years or haven't talked to in years, and some show up and some go, I don't know, and everything. But I've caught one of the unicorns sitting right here with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my true dear friends right here. This is Liz Callender. And Liz was a singer in the house band when we were at Cowboys. And I think we did. You were Dallas and in Arlington.
Dallas, Arlington, Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh, you went to Atlanta too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did that for a while. And you and I haven't seen each other in 15, 20 years. Yeah. It's been a long time.
I can't remember the last time I was at Cowboys. It would have been Cowboys Red River.
I don't even know where nice was.
Yeah.
We went to the last night of the Arlington venue when they closed it, and we drank ourselves blind, and hopefully we broke Murphy in the process. And
Good.
Oh, I'm not supposed to say his name, but that's okay. I'm gonna say it anyway. So, Liz, what in the hell have you been doing?
Well, after I left Cowboys, I didn't sing for a long time, because they fired me for being overweight. So I was, I don't know, I guess disenfranchised, and
They fired you for being overweight.
that is correct. 3 times.
Really? I didn't know. So who made that call?
I'm pretty sure the person whose name you're not supposed to say. I just know that everything was fine until I went to Atlanta. And they made me go to Atlanta. I mean, they said either go to Atlanta or you don't have a job. And so I was like, this is a really good paying job. So I don't want to lose it. So, okay, fine, I'll go to Atlanta. So I'll go to Atlanta, and I don't have any friends or family. And so I start eating that with Krispy Kreme donuts. And I gained weight. Now, still didn't affect my voice, but I
No.
guess I didn't have the look. And so I walked off stage on a Sunday night, and the manager in Kennesaw handed me my check. It said, your services are no longer needed. And I'd say, can you tell me why? And he said, you're just not the same singer that we had in Dallas. And I'm like, why? It wasn't my voice. And so I mean, I had no money to get back home. So all my friends pulled together money, gave it to my brother. He hooked up a U-Haul to his truck, and he came to Atlanta and got me. And then I mowed yards. I worked in a tobacco shop. I delivered flowers, which I'll never do again, because when you deliver flowers, you deliver the happy flowers, but you also have to deliver the sad flowers.
Yep.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that one day, and I was like, I'm not sure this is for me. So, it was many years. So I got a job working in a body shop. I worked there for 11 years doing kind of, front of office management a little bit, did estimates, all that kind of stuff. So I know way too much about cars and how much the parts cost. But one day out of the blue, I had a friend that asked me if, well, no, I wrote, I'm sorry, I skipped a whole big part. I wrote an album. Okay. And so it was for my sister's 40th birthday. I wanted to write her a song. And so I'm like pulling into my apartment, and I can't go to her 40th birthday. So I pull into my apartment and I go, all right, Jesus, here's the deal. We need to write a song about my sister. So let's do that. So I got home, I pulled my guitar out, and I just started kind of strumming. And I was like, what's the most important thing that she has ever done for me? And I thought, well, she prayed. You can never hurt to have somebody pray for you, no matter what you believe in. And so I wrote a song called "Sister You Prayed," and then it just kept rolling. And I wrote like 10 songs, and so I made a Christian album in a little Oklahoma town called Talibah, and
Mhm.
really cool town actually. And the guy that owned the studio, Jeff Parker, um, really sweet guy, incredibly talented on the guitar. I mean, taught a lot. I think I don't know, it's not Randy Rogers, somebody, maybe Jason Boland, that he used to give guitar lessons to in, I guess, Stillwater. He goes, I had to wake him up every time, every single time. But I mean, Jeff could play the guitar. He could pretty much play any instrument. So he called me one day. No, he called my friend who had referred me. He goes, hey, do you think Liz would want to be in a band? And he goes, oh no, I don't think so. And so I never knew this happened. About a month later, Greg and I are talking, and he said, well, Jeff asked me if you wanted to be in a band, but I told him you didn't. And I was like, no, don't tell him that. And so I went to see Jeff. He was playing, it was, uh, uh, what's the casino? Choctaw. He was playing at Choctaw. And um, he's like, I already know what you sound like because I did your album. So do you want to be in a band? I'm like, sure, let's do that. So I was with them for a couple years. It was very taxing.
What was the name of the band?
I wasn't there for band naming, okay? And it was called the Red River Mudcats.
That's right. I
The
remember the
Red
Mudcat.
River
The
Mudcats.
Red River
And I
Mudcats.
go,
I remember that.
what the hell? God, I'm not a fucking mudcat, okay? And I'm the one that sings. I'm kind of in the front of the stage. Yeah, I hated the name the whole time. Always hated it. But we had a lot of fun gigs together. We did the Toby Keith's bar in Tulsa and the one at Windstar. I mean, we played in Austin, Stillwater, you name it. We were all over Oklahoma, Missouri. The farthest that we went was Joplin. And we were singing inside the bar at this casino in Joplin, Missouri. I forget what it was called. Huge casino. And that weekend they were having the Beach Boys playing outside on this big stage. And so I guess we were told that we were going to open for the Beach Boys. And I was like, no, we're not. We're not opening for the Beach Boys. We're still going to be inside. We're not going to be on that stage. It's like somebody is playing a trick. And anyways, we did not open for the Beach Boys. We were still playing inside.
Yeah, you were still inside.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember leaving that gig, and this was before iPhones. So I've got some printed MapQuest shit out. and I'm driving, it's dark, and I'm trying to read this map, trying to get back to Dallas, and the next thing I see is like Springfield, Missouri, 2 miles. And I'm like, I am not going anywhere. I'm going east. I am going east. So I did finally make my way back home, but ultimately I met the love of my life. And so I told Jeff on stage after a gig at Choctaw that I didn't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I think we drove up and saw you guys at Choctaw one time.
Probably did because we played there a while.
Yeah, we drove up there and saw you guys there, and then we saw you in a couple other places too. I've got a picture.
That's right, because y'all came to Port David's Pub, I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I've got a picture of you guys were playing some outdoor thing somewhere. And I got a picture of Roscoe and I were standing out there. We were drinking a beer, and we could see you in the background singing. But what was the girl's name that was the drummer?
Oh, Dixie?
Dixie, yeah. You know what? I still follow her on Facebook. I see her
Yeah.
pop up every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she's still playing or not, but
I don't know. She was she was working for, I guess, the Choctaw Indian people, like at their headquarters, I guess.
mhm.
And she was teaching rock band. She was really good at giving lessons and helping kids, form bands and write little songs together and stuff. I think it was like a school of rock thing. And I don't know if she ever started playing again. I haven't really
I
kept up
haven't
with
seen
her.
her in a while, but
Yeah.
I always wondered about that. I thought she was a good drummer.
Oh man, she was great. She was great.
And she was cute too. So don't tell my wife.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, you didn't hear that.
Nope, nope, not at all. Yeah, I think
Shit.
that the only drummer that I worked with that was better was probably Gene Glover and Elliot.
Yeah. Yeah. Dino was on with me a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and we had a lot of fun talking about the guys and stuff, and Elliot came up a few times because Elliot was
Because he was what, 19 when
when I met him, he was like 17. They were playing at Borrowed Money when I first met them.
Oh, wow.
I was in Houston for a year helping get a club going down there. It was called Tin Hall.
Right.
And I know there's guys out there that remember that place. It was a nightmare loading in and out. You had to go up the stairs. You had to take everything up the stairs and back down and everything. But
Kind of like Cowboys Dallas.
yeah, exactly. There was nothing easy about getting in and out of that place. But when I got back, I went to work at a place called Rock and Rodeo that was over in Fort Worth.
Oh yeah, I remember that place.
And they hired me. I was coming back. I was getting out of Houston because I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Houston was
It's a
no,
whooping.
it is.
And it's humid.
It's so funny. People from Dallas hate Houston, and people from Houston hate Dallas. And
Oh, really?
oh yeah, and it's. But Houston was just. It was too big. It was just nuts. And I said, all right, I'm done with this. And my father had a stroke, and so I wanted to get back closer home.
Sure.
So I came home and I got in with Rock and Rodeo, and I was there for about, I don't even know if I made it a year with them. I just couldn't. That was the Graham brothers.
I don't know them. Was Rock and Rodeo that like almost directly across the street from the Cavenders or Letty's or?
It was
Was it-
over in, it was in Fort Worth in, what was that mall over there? I can't remember the name of the mall. I can tell you one thing about the mall. The mall property it was neutral territory for all the gangs in Fort Worth.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that special?
Yes.
So, so there
I hope
was,
I don't live near it.
yeah, nobody could touch anybody on property at the mall. And I got that straight from the gang police that
Wow.
would come by and check on us every once in a while. And I thought, well, that's good to know. Not to mention we got a letter one morning. We said, well, we found a body in the parking lot, but it's all been taken care of. Don't worry about it.
No big deal.
No big deal. Now we got him. So I still can't remember the damn name of the mall though. It was down south.
Was it Ridgely or Hewlin?
No, it was shit. I cannot. That is so weird. I cannot remember. I'll have to check with my other unicorn, and I cannot get on. His name is Keith Rolfe, who was I'll call him a mixologist, but he was. But he and I worked together for a long time. And he helped me survive the Graham brothers because he'd worked for them for years.
Oh, really? I've never heard of them. They had
Assholes. Graham Central Station. They had Rock and Rodeo, and there was something else. And I don't remember.
Did they have Neon Moon?
No. That they didn't have Neon Moon. That was Darren. What's his face? I don't remember his name. His last name. I think it was Darren. But anyway, I couldn't take any more of that, so I just one day I showed up, threw in my keys, and said, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
And I left, and I went home, and I'm sitting at home thinking, what the hell am I going to do now? And I called my buddy Marshall, who was running sound at Borrowed Money,
Uh-huh.
and I called him and I said, "Hey," "what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm looking for work. I just quit my job." And he goes, "We need a DJ. Do you want to DJ, go back and DJ for a while?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I can do that for a little while." And so I went back, and I had to audition for Jim Galloway.
No way. Oh my God.
The wonderful Jim Galloway.
Wow.
Go up there and play something. So I went up there and played. After the band broke, I played, and then I came back. Danny goes, "You're hired. You're good." I said, "Okay." So I took the gig and I did that, and that's how I got to meet. That's the first time I met Mark and the Law.
Oh.
I met Ty Herndon. Ty was singing there at the time.
That's right. Leanne Rhymes was singing there too.
Jim Collins was there.
Yep.
He was just on with me last month.
Really?
Oh God, we had so much fun.
I didn't realize that Mark, Justice, and the Law sang it Borrowed Money.
They did, yeah. That was the first time I met them, and because the funny thing about with that was the first time I met Dave Pinkston.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Pinkston was Ty Herndon's drummer.
That's right.
And so what they didn't tell me, that there was a Billboard magazine in the booth, and in the top 100 songs, well, the band would mark what songs they did, which meant that was the songs I was not supposed to be playing.
Okay.
And so nobody told me this. And so during the band's break, Ty was there, and the band took a break, and so I started playing music. Well, I played 2 of their songs. And all of a sudden, Pinkston's head just pops up in the booth, and he goes, "If you'd stop playing all our fucking songs, we might be able to, and..."
Holy shit. I'm not sure I've ever seen David Pinkston that mad.
And I turned and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he thought I was Manny. I don't know if you remember Manny or not. Manny was one of the DJs, and Manny was kind of working his way out, and that's when they pushed me in, and he looked at me, and he goes, and he just his eyes got real wide, and he just went back down the stairs. And I looked at Marshall, and I said, "Can you tell me who the hell that was?" He goes, "Oh, that's Ty Herndon's drummer." And he said, "Why?" I said, "I'm going to go kill him." And I went down the stairs, and I went looking for him. And I said, I'm gonna punch him in the face.
He may be tall, but he
got him. And he did. I couldn't find him. And so anyway, at the end of the night, he came up into the booth, and I'm standing there, and I'm looking at him thinking, I'm getting ready to knock you out. And he goes, "I am so sorry." He goes, "I thought you were Manny." He goes, "My name's Dave." I said, "Well, I'm Gavan." And, we introduced ourselves, and I said, "Dave," I said, "I was going to kick your ass." And he goes, "That's why I left." He goes, "'Cause I thought you were going to kick my ass." And he, and after that, we just got to be really good friends. And and I tried to get him to come on, but he goes, "I don't know what I'd talk about." I said, "We got plenty to talk about." Shit, my God. But, and so there goes the dogs again. That'll come out. It'll come out in the end anyway. But yeah. Dave was something else. But anyway. When I was talking to Dino, when I was at Borrowed Money, and we started talking about it, and I said, "Were you with him at Borrowed Money?" And Dino was, and I couldn't remember, but Dino's hair was longer.
Oh, did he have a mullet?
Yeah, he had.
Yes, I need to see Dino in a mullet.
The mega mullet. And so we started talking about Elliot, because we would mess with him. Marshall would mess with him up in the booth, and so Elliot would be singing high parts.
Really?
Oh yeah, and
because his balls hadn't dropped yet. It was not nice.
Hey, Elliot, she said it. I didn't.
Sorry.
But no, we were And so what we would do is we'd be up there. Well, Marshall would, in his monitor, he would just turn up Elliot's ISO. He'd just bring up his ISO. And without the mix, and we could hear Elliot singing in the background going, and we're just up there just laughing our asses off. And he finally caught on to what we were doing.
Right.
And so when he would be singing high parts, we'd all lean in and watch him, and and then he would lean, and then every once in a while, you'd hear him just under his breath, he'd go, "Fuck you, fuck all of you," and that was.
I worked with the band years ago, before Cowboys. I think it was the first band I ever was in. It was called Nobody's Fool, and they. I traveled with them for about a year, and I learned a lot. I learned how not to play the tambourine on the 1 and the 3 like a white girl. Luckily, the drummer and I would drive to Houston to do the gigs with Nobody's Fool, so he taught me but the 2 and the 4.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, thank you so much. Because I was like,
Hey,
20.
Hey, friends don't let friends clap on 1 and 3.
Man,
They just
that is
don't.
so true. That is so true. And I've got a friend that does not have rhythm. And I'm like, no, stop it. Don't dance, don't clap, and don't sing. But we did this gig in New Jersey in remember Dirty Dancing? Those old school Jersey resorts from the 50s and 60s.
Yep.
Well, that's what this was.
Oh God.
It was not busy either. There was, I don't know, 200 people. The resort's giant, but the rooms, nothing has been updated. So my room was tri-colored purple shag carpet.
All right.
Shag. And it had been there since, I don't know, 50s, 60s, 70s. I've had enough 20 some odd years worth of people walking on it. The shower was gross. I just remember I just walked around in my shoes. I showered in my socks. I was like, And so we're up on stage. And the people that we're singing to, they're old. And so the bass player, Rankin Peters, he started singing Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground. I think it was a Willie Nelson song or something. But he changed all the lyrics. And he was like, I fucking hate this gig. All you people are old. But you could not tell. We could. And so we're trying to keep our composure on stage and do our job. And it's like, stop.
Kind of like all the shit that Danny Hilliard used to do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Golly, he got me so drunk one night. I remember they had to pull my blazer into the back of Cowboys Arlington, and I'm pretty sure Roscoe drove me home.
That was another thing I've got on my list about your blazer.
Mm-hmm.
What year was it?
It was 1989.
It was an 89.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I had an 84. We had an 84.
I originally had an 84 when I started growing.
Yeah, we had an 84 that because we had 4 at one time. We had the 66 Ford F100, and then I had the 68 Chevelle SS, and then she had a 75 Stingray, and then boom, and then out of nowhere, we were at a car show, and Tracy had left early. And so I was coming home, and she called me. She said, "Hey, there's a guy that's got a blazer for sale down the street. You might stop and check it out." And I saw what he had on it. He had on some ridiculous amount of money. And I was like, "No, we're not doing that."
Right.
And another friend of mine I was talking to about it. He goes, "Dude," he goes, "I got a friend that's got one for sale that he wants to get rid of." Well, what they did was they kept it down at the deer lease.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they got around on the property.
Gotcha.
So everything that was chrome was spray painted black. It was, and I only gave him like $3,000 for it. It was running. The interior was pretty decent. And I mean, but And I just told Tracy, we'll get it. It's next in line. The vet was done. We were working on mine. The Chevelle, I sold the truck because I don't like Fords anyway, but I did that as a flip, and then we were going to work on the Blazer, but the Blazer started rearing its ugly head, and we started finding more and more stuff wrong with it, and the transfer case was shot, and we're gonna have to replace that. And I was thinking, I told her, I said, we're gonna be $20,000 in this truck, and I said, let's not do it. And my friend Eric Love, he works for Cars for Kids.
Oh, okay. I hate that commercial. It's stuck in my head, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, he works for Cars for Kids, and
Wow.
he does all kinds of stuff. But he does private detective work and all this stuff. But he works for Cars for Kids. That's one of his things. And I just told him, I said, Eric, I said, if you want to, said, come get the Blazer. You can have it, and you go see if you can get some money out of it for the kids.
Cool.
And I think they maybe got 4,000 out of it or something. But at least it went to something good.
Sure.
And we just wrote it off. And Tracy goes, she goes, do you want to do? And I said, I don't care. We're just not going to dump much. We had so much money in the vet and the Chevelle. And this is during COVID too.
Oh.
And, that's the reason why.
Getting parts hard?
No, it was just the fact that we just didn't know, because I got laid off and we just didn't know where, money was going to come from and stuff. And so we ended up selling everything. We got rid of all the cars because it was just, I told her when we bought them, I said, don't get attached to it because they come and go fast.
Yep.
I said, you could wreck it. It could blow up on you. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And
that's where my brother is.
And
get attached to any car.
And so, and I did cry when he drove my Chevelle down the street. I thought that hurt, but I thought, you bastard. It was the guy. I put it up for sale, and I knew when I did it, I was gonna get bombarded, and I did. People were calling me and sending me messages and said, "Hey, we'll give you this." And I said, "Don't make any offers through text, phone calls, or anything. If you come look at it, we'll talk."
Right.
And so this guy called me one day. He lives over in Weatherford, and he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I'm in Rio Vista." He's just right up the road there painting a building. And he goes, "And can I come by and see your car?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And he goes, "Okay, well, I'll come by on lunch break." And I said, "Okay." So he came by, had his daughter with him. She was about 15, I think. And opened the garage door up. And of course, he's like, and I thought, oh shit. And so we went in. Well, his daughter went straight over to Tracy's car because her car was parked on the other side. And she went straight to the vet. And I said, watch this. And I popped the hood and opened it up. Well, everything under that hood was chrome because Tracy became a chrome junkie. And I told her, I said, don't do that. But she did it anyway. And the little girl's eyes just went. And he goes, well, are you selling the vet too? And I said, yeah, I'm getting ready to list it tomorrow. And he goes, I want both of them. And I went, really?
Wow.
And he goes, yeah. He goes, I want both of them. I gave him the price. And he said, okay. He goes, I'm going to give you $500 now just to hold them. And I said, that's fine. But I said, you don't show up, I'm keeping the money. He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to be back. And he came back the next weekend, and he had a big box full of stuff that allows you to purchase cars. And it was all cash. He goes, there you go. And away they went.
That's wild.
And yeah, that sucked, but
yeah,
I can't drive now anyway. So it was fun.
Right.
We had fun with it. They were fun to play with, but yeah, but when I got the Blazer and I was talking to Dale, he goes, yeah, the guy came and he looked at him, and his daughter was, and she just lit her up, and he wanted to buy both of them. So he just purchased both of them and took them. So, but I'm not a Corvette guy.
Right.
And Tracy, that's what she wanted.
Yeah.
And our neighbor, a lot of people in our neighborhood had classic cars, and one of our neighbors down over the hill over here had that Vet, and it was a 75. And I was coming home. I was gone somewhere. I've been doing a show somewhere, and I got home, and he was cruising through the neighborhood and had a for sale sign in it. So I stopped him. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I hadn't had the Vet out in a while. I need to just get it out and stretch it out a little bit." And I said, "I know what you're doing. You're trolling the neighborhood is what you're doing."
Yeah.
And so I said, "Take it over to the house. I'm going to take a look at it." He said, "Okay." So we went over to the house, and he come pull in the driveway. Tracy comes running out the front door.
What
Yeah,
color is it?
it was red. And she goes, "He's been by here. I don't know how many times he's been by." And I said, "I kind of figured he'd been by several times." And so he let us take it the next day and drove it. And I made him an offer, and he took it. So I told her, I said, "You're going to hate that car. You're going to learn to hate that car."
Really? How come?
Because it's like riding on a buckboard. They are uncomfortable. And we had friends that had a vet club, and she got into it, and they took off and went somewhere one day, and it was about 60 miles out and 60 miles back in.
Yeah.
And when she got home, she looked like she had been like
Riding a wagon train?
through a tornado or something. I mean, her hair was all, and just,
Did it have the Target top?
Yeah, it had T-tops on it, and she was just, oh my God, that was the worst. And I said, "I told you we're not going to like that car." And so she didn't take it on any more road trips. We'd go do car shows and stuff, but she would do more road trips.
My dad had a 73 Stingray that a friend of ours redid. But what he did was he took the whole front end off because, I mean, notoriously, the older Corvettes were really heavy. And so he took the front end off and he put fenders and a hood and everything back on that was fiberglass. So the front end was much lighter than, it being stock. And the engine in it was all balanced and blueprinted, and then just, it ran fantastic. So my dad bought it. I guess it was a midlife crisis. I'm not sure. But it was probably around 1982-ish or so. And I remember he drove it to our farm, which was in Whitesboro, Texas, and about, probably 65 miles north of Dallas. And so one day I'm riding home with him, and he decides he's on 377 and he punches it. And we're going about 100, and it's going a little, he's getting up to like 110. And all of a sudden the front end of the car just back and forth, just back and forth.
Yeah.
Because it was so light.
Oh yeah, those cars were light anyway. They were just
You need to slow down, Dad, I don't think. Yeah. So
they were a fiberglass missile. Because she called me one day. She goes, "We could put a 427 in my car." And I said, "No, we're not." I said,
"We can do a lot of things."
I said, "I know what I can do to it, but we're not doing that." Well, she goes, "Well, you got a 454 in yours," and I said, "That's because," and I said, "And you're scared to drive it, aren't you?" And she said, "Oh God," she was terrified of that car.
Really?
Oh my God, that car was a street eater. That's all I designed that car for, was I just terrorized high school kids mostly.
That's awesome.
But it was so fun. I had a kid one day, and I knew what he was doing. And I had electronic cutouts in the car. So if I flipped the switch, it would just open it up at the headers, and it would just, I could shake the neighborhood.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm sitting at the light, and he pulls up next to me. He's one of those new Dodge Chargers or the Challengers, one of those. And, we had a Hellcat, and it was just, and he's lurching at the light. And at first I'm not paying attention to him. I got the radio on, I'm jamming. And then we go down to the next light, and here he comes again. He's lurching at the light. And I kind of looked at him, and I thought, no, we're not going to do this. And so we go down to the next light. Well, here he comes again, sitting there. He's lurching at the light. And I thought, all right, asshole, you want to play the game? We'll play the game. So I flipped the switch and opened the headers up, and I destroyed him down to the next light. And when he caught up to me at the next light, I looked out the window and I said, "Now, are you done?" And he goes, "Well, I was just going to tell you how cool your car was." And I said, "No, you weren't. You were testing me." And I should have said, "You owe me $30 because that's about what it costs in gas to do that."
Even to open it all up.
Yeah, just because somebody goes, "What kind of gas mileage do you get?" And I said, "Don't ever ask a car person about gas mileage. We don't care.
It's like one.
I don't care. It goes from one gas station to the next. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's my gas mileage." So.
I remember when I had my Blazer. I was moving into an apartment with my girlfriend at the time, and they needed a deposit, and I mean I didn't have the deposit. I worked at a body shop for $10 an hour, and so I ended up selling my Blazer for the down payment on an apartment, and still to this day, it makes me sick at my stomach because
It hurts some days. It
I
does.
see how much they're worth now, and mine was it was in excellent condition.
Oh, yours was great. I loved yours.
Had a 2-inch lift, and I had I think size 32, BF Goodrich centerline wheels, and when the guy bought the truck, I was bawling. And he goes, "Okay, I'm not gonna buy it from you. Like you're too upset." And I go, "No, it's okay." My brother was there with me. He was like, "It's gonna be all right." It doesn't feel all right, and still doesn't. Now they have those old Ford Broncos and Scouts that there's a company that redoes them and keeps them all stock, but yet everything is electronic. So
Yeah.
it still has the roll up windows, but
Mhm.
you hit a button and the window goes up and down, and
Yeah.
they're, ridiculous.
It was ours was, there was a guy that had an old Bronco, but it was just it was just a rolling chassis, didn't have an engine in it or anything.
Oh.
And I thought, okay, I'm gonna check it out. He wanted $40,000 for it. And I thought, no.
Oh my God.
And then I started looking at these companies that were just modifying these Broncos,
Yeah.
the old ones, and they were
Mhm.
asking $100,000 for
Oh, yeah.
these things.
Mhm.
And I couldn't believe how much they'd gone up. And so when we got the Blazer, I went down to the bank and just had them just tell me what they thought it was worth. And they said, that's probably worth about $20,000. And I went, really? And they go, well, how much did you pay for it? And I was like, no, I didn't pay anything for it. I don't know. I only gave the guy like $3,000 for it. But of course, if we had kept it, we'd have been into it for about $20,000 because it was on a 4-inch lift.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was up there. And
That already causes problems.
and Tracy it took everything she had just to climb up into it. And so I told her, I said, you want me to drop it? We'll put smaller, because it had 35s on it.
Probably.
Yeah, it was 35s. And I told her, I said, we can put smaller tires on it. We'll lower it. She goes, no, I want to keep it the way it is. And I said, all right, we'll have to get you a ladder out there or something. But
You just zip tie a little small 2-foot step ladder to the side.
of course, we never got there because it was gone not
Right.
long after that. So, okay, so I was supposed to talk to you about Dale's wedding.
Dale's wedding.
Dale's wedding. Apparently, you sang at Dale Bridges' wedding.
I did.
And he told me, he goes, I cried like a little bitch. And I said, you're a little bitch. I said, so what's the difference? He,
I forgot I sang there.
he goes, and so he texted me and he goes, ask her about that. He goes, I did. I broke and I cried.
Right.
It was so beautiful. And it was like, okay.
I think I sang Once in a Lifetime for him, which was an original song that I cut in Nashville. And it just talks about once in a lifetime you meet that person, da 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 da. But I didn't realize that. I mean, I was probably paying attention to my own shit, not realizing he's standing there bawling.
Yes. He said, I cried. And I said, oh, God.
I love me some Dale.
And so then I asked him, I said, when did you get married? And he goes, well, he goes, let me ask. I'll have to ask Michelle. I don't remember. And I think they got married in 95 or 96.
It was probably 96.
But he said that you were there, Jim was there. There was several people there. And I said, why the hell was I there? And I said, did you not invite me? He goes, did we know each other then? I said, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Asshat. You came and worked at Cowboys. I opened the place. So, yeah, you knew I was there.
I love that.
He's such a jackass sometimes. I love him, but my God, I was like, dude.
Oh.
And so we still don't know why he wasn't there, but I thought it was funny because you got to ask about it because I cried. I cried.
I know the song I sang. It was Once in a Lifetime. But I don't remember where it was.
See, and I kept thinking, where was it? Where was it? And then I got thinking, I don't even think I was there.
I
And
remember when Mark Justice and Amy got married at that church on a corner somewhere. I just remember it was kind of a big church. That's all.
I wasn't at their wedding either.
Oh.
I didn't go to because I was working that day, and because I think they got married over the weekend, but
Yeah.
I was working, and so I didn't go because I remember they came to the bar afterwards. Everybody had come in afterwards and were hanging out and stuff. But that's when I saw everybody then. But I wasn't at their wedding either.
Well, what's the deal with all your lack of invites?
I don't know.
It's starting to get a little bit personal.
Well, I can tell you a real good friend of mine back in college. His name is Keith Hoffman.
Uh-huh.
And he's on the podcast too. He's in there somewhere, but he and I talked and Keith's parents, they had a house, his mom and his stepdad, they had a house down on Swiss Avenue.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was huge. It was huge. It was beautiful. And they had the wedding there.
Ah.
And so I was there, was it there or did we have well, anyway, we had it was the reception afterwards, but we ended up at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And my date that I took, that's what did it.
Oh, it was bad.
It was, well, don't get me wrong, she was a sweetheart,
Mm-hmm.
but she can't drink.
Uh-oh.
She's not a good drinker.
So then you're a babysitter.
Anyway, we got into the champagne and we're all drinking champagne and everything, and she's having a good time. And then it was like, and she wore this red dress.
Mm-hmm.
And Keith's mom, for the longest time, every time I would see her, she would go, well, Gavin, how are you doing? I said, no, I'm fine. I'm doing good. How are you? And she's just good. She goes, you still going out with that little red dress girl? No. And she never let me forget that. She goes, my God, we would be looking at pictures and there's Keith and there's Rebecca. Oh, look, there's Gavin's date again. And there's Gavin's date again. And there's Gavin's date again. And I went, she goes, the photographer just loved taking her picture. And I went, I'm so sorry. But
I'm so sorry I bogarted all your pictures.
And she got hammered, and I said, I got to get her out of here.
Yeah, before something comes out of her mouth,
and
whether it's words or...
I took her out, and we're across the street, and she was mad about something, so she sat down in the neighbor's yard across the street. She took her shoes up. She's throwing her shoes at me. And I'm like going, I got to get her out of here.
You know, what's funny is I've had shoes thrown at me too.
And look, I'm like, isn't that like some Middle Eastern? Isn't that an insult or something? I don't know. But she did that. And
did the neighbor come out?
No, it didn't come out. But I, I got her home, but that was about that.
Man.
And I I I haven't talked to her in 100 years, seems
Right?
like. But uh, Amy Justice, they were childhood friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so Amy comes over every once in a while and hangs out with Tracy, and they watch movies and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And we don't, and I don't bring it up every once in a while, but she
Right.
had some issues with cancer, and I'll ask how's everything going with her, and she's fine, everything's good. She got remarried and all that,
Yeah.
so she's doing fine. But
Wow.
that was an interesting one. And when Keith was on, I said, "How's your mom?" "Oh, mom's good." His stepfather had passed away, and his mom lives up in Dallas somewhere now, in up North Dallas. And I said, "Well, tell her, give her my love, and tell her I'm still sorry about my red dress date that I brought."
Oh, Bogart's pictures.
He goes, "She still brings that up."
Oh my God.
I said, "I know she does." She's not
That's awesome.
I'll never live that down.
Nope.
I'll never live that down.
No.
It's not going to happen. I was like, "Geez, how?"
That is. And see, I hate pictures. So what happens to me is I don't I don't really have many current pictures, but I have a ton of pictures from Cowboys and I mean me singing and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And now I'm like, I wish I would have just taken pictures, Like there's been so many different trips or something that I've been on, but I'm a bad picture taker.
You know what? I used to take pictures of. I've got boxes of pictures somewhere that I was going to go through, and I was going to send them in and have them all digitized and
Right?
just put them on a thumb drive or something. But I haven't done it yet. But I got pictures from, back when I at the bar and when I had my bar and
Oh, that's right. You had that bar in
yeah,
Hewlett's, wasn't it?
yeah, it was in, somebody somebody brought it up the other one day. Somebody brought it up, and I was like, "Well, let's not go there."
It was off Industrial, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Next to his funeral home, I think.
And it's still there too.
Mm.
It is actually
Is it?
still there. Yep.
Wow. Well, so ever since I quit my job with the Red River Mudcats, then I got a job at an engineering firm. Um, I was the president's assistant, and I worked there for I think 7 years, maybe,
Mhm.
and then got laid off right before COVID. And so then once COVID started, I started doing bookkeeping like remotely for one of my really good friends. And so that's what I'm still doing. I basically do keep people's QuickBook files reconciled and in order and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, before COVID, I was working for a company. When I'd left, I got out of, I think, left Red River, and then Dale talked to me about he was doing lighting for a company, and he said, "You need to come over here. They're looking for production managers and stuff." He goes, "Come over and apply for a job," because I was ready to get out of the
Oh
business.
yeah.
I
Is
was
that the
tired.
place where little Jimmy Palisoto worked?
Who
Jimmy
was
Palisoto, Roz's son?
whose son was it?
Roz's remember
Oh yeah,
Roz.
yeah. I remember Oz.
Her son, Jimmy Palisota, he still works it's over in like Irving, like 635 and 35, kind of northwest corner in that. It's not necessarily industrial, but I forgot the name of the place, but it does huge events like, the Mary Kay convention. I thought you worked with him for a minute.
I don't know if I don't think I did it. Because the company I was working for, the last company I was with when I got laid off was
Mhm.
they did Mary Kay, they did South by in Austin.
Yeah.
They did all that stuff. But I just when I first went to work with Dale, it was with these two Russian guys. It was a place called Intellicon. Yes, I worked at Intellicon, so I know people
Never
out there.
heard of him.
Oh, there's people out there that have heard of.
Really?
And I was told, and I didn't believe it at first, and they said, that company's hated across the United States. And I thought, that's a little much.
Right.
And then I started traveling and I found out they were hated across the United States.
Really?
Yeah. And they'd ask, who are you with? And you tell them and they go, oh, okay. And I never did a repeat event with them ever. It was always just one-offs and that was it. And so when they went under, then that guy that owned that big giant club out in Arlington, Cowboys.
That guy.
Yeah, I ran into him one night and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "I lost my job. They went out of business." He goes, "Well, you want to come back and run this for me?" And I said, and so I said, "Well, I don't know. Let me talk to Tracy and I'll let you know." And so I told Tracy, I said, "Look, it's just temporary until I find something else." And we did. So I went back and I think we brought, yeah, because we brought, Russ Martin in and we did the white trash party that one year. And that was that was nuts. But,
So was Russ Martin, was he as wild in person as he was on his show?
yeah, Russ was a very interesting person. I've known he and JD, I met them in the late '80s.
Yeah.
I was a DJ at a club there and they had come in and brought them in and I got to know them and JD and I got to be really good friends.
Yeah. I had, I guess, a business friendship with JD Ryan for a while.
Yeah, JD
He was
was
a good
great.
dude.
And matter of fact, he was gonna come on and he canceled on me, he had to do something with
Whatever,
him.
JD.
Yeah, I know JD, but it was, yeah, Russ could be interesting. He could be fun. He could be an ass. He
I
could,
bet.
oh God, he could be an ass sometimes, but we did white trash and then I slipped a couple of times
Oh,
and I went, and I went to the owner and I said, "I can't do this." He was mad at me about something anyway, and I said, "Look, I can't do this. I'm out." And I
right.
left.
Yeah.
And that's when I got in with this company I was just with, this last company I was with.
Ah,
And so, but then I started doing shows for him and I kept looking at like paperwork and how we laid stuff out and with auditing and everything. And I kept going, this all looks familiar. Well, the two Russian guys that we worked for, they had worked for that company that I was with before they started their own company. And they took all their ideas and all their inventory software. They took everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there going, I know all of this.
Yeah.
And I said, no wonder they hated you guys.
No,
And I was like, geez.
nobody likes a thief.
And so, I did that and it was fun. We had a good time, but after when COVID hit, they furloughed us and then they put us on a 90-day furlough and I started doing the math and I said, because their fiscal year started on July 1st. And that 90 days was going to run us right into July 1st. And I said, we're done. I said, they're going to start cleaning house. And they did. And I got the email, said, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of knew when I was getting laid off at the engineering firm because I could just tell. I mean, like, I was the sixth employee hired, and then we got up to having like 75 employees. And we expanded into Germany, and I think it all went a little bit too fast, but I just started seeing people getting laid off, and I was like, hmm. And so my office was decorated. I had my guitar up there and all the signed pictures or pictures with famous people or whatever. And so little by little, I just started taking stuff home because I knew that it probably wasn't going to be a good layoff. And so it wasn't. And luckily, I had taken everything home and I had already deleted everything off the computer not that I had anything bad on there, but the president of the company, she left and let her husband lay me off. And as soon as he walked into my office, um, I hit delete on like one file that I had on my desktop. And he goes, yeah, I need you to step back from your computer. Like I had to like show my hands and shit. Like, I'm not stealing your stuff, dude. And so he said, yeah, we got to lay you off or whatever. I remember it was Tuesday, and my my wife was out of town, and so I remember leaving, and I'm sitting in the 7-Eleven parking lot going, I'm kind of crying, I'm kind of not, because kind of wanted to choke the people that worked there after a while,
Yeah.
anyways. And so, I mean, I think it was a blessing, but so I called her best friend and I was like, okay, so I got laid off. And I don't want to tell Mitchell while she's working out of town, 'cause she works at different hospitals and stuff. And so I just went to her best friend's house and just got drunk with her. Like, I guess we'll just figure it out later. And
It was like that with us. It was they when they furloughed us, they let us take unemployment, which was
uh
fine, and then we got laid off. And I knew it was funny. I was talking to my mother one day, and I told her, I said, "Well, it happened. We got laid off." And she goes, and I said, "I don't think they'll bring us back." And she said, "Well, the one thing you've got working against you is your age." And I said, "Well, thanks. I appreciate that. But you're right." And, they did eventually bring us back as independent contractors
ah,
because in our contracts, if they had brought us back full time, they had to bring us back at a rate we were at when
right.
they let us go, and they weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I went back and did that for, I don't know, a year, 2 years. And then that's when all the health stuff started. And then, it just started, the calls stopped coming in.
Right.
And so I just finally figured it out. I could see the writing on the wall,
Right.
but they did what most people would do, seeing that they got rid of my team. There were like 15 of us on our
Oh,
team.
wow.
And I think 2 survived out of that, and everybody else got let go. And so, but I knew what they were gonna do. They were gonna start hiring young people, bring them in,
Paying less.
pay them less,
Mhm.
beat them like a bunch of dogs.
Yep.
And I told some of the guys when I left, some of the warehouse guys and stuff, and I said, "Look, I'm gonna be honest with you." I said, "It was a pleasure working for you, but they're gonna keep you on," and they told they were cutting their pay because they had to. And I said, "But guys, they're gonna cut your pay and they're gonna work you like a bunch of dogs." And I
Mhm.
said, "So you better be ready for it."
Mhm.
And they go, "Well, you think so?" And I said, "No, I know so.
Yeah.
I promise you." And I called one over there one day and I talked to one of those guys in the warehouse. I said, "How are you doing?" He goes, I haven't had a day off in over a month." And I
Oh
said
my gosh.
"What did I tell you?" And he goes, "You were so right." And he goes, "They are just trying to kill us." And I don't know how they're doing now.
Yeah.
I know I've got still some friends that are freelancing for them, but I just don't.
Mm.
I kinda just but
Ah, I knew that, I was like you, I kinda saw the writing on the wall,
yeah.
but I also knew how much the, owner and president that I worked for of the company hated paying, unemployment. She hated it, and so I just waited, and I made them lay me off so that I could offer
Yeah,
unemployment
you
just
can
to
apply
piss
for
her off.
unemployment, yeah.
But, it's
And it was really weird because unemployment, I was making more money on unemployment than I was making on my salary.
well, me too, and
It
then
that
they
was
started the government was giving stipends and all this all this money just kept ended up in my account, and I was like, um, I don't know if this is mine. Do I spend this? is the government gonna go, hey,
It
well, that
was.
was an accident. We're gonna need that back.
Yeah, you kind of thought that because
Yeah.
I got my first check and I went, damn, that's more than they were paying me at
My
the
first
shop.
check was like $2,100 or something.
It was,
But that was on top of my unemployment. And so I was like, oh, wow.
yeah, Tracy was being a business owner. She could have gotten all these loans and stuff, and she
Yeah.
didn't do it because she was worried that it was going to happen to where they go, well, you got to pay all that back
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And so she didn't. I think she took one,
Hmm.
and they never mentioned it.
Wow.
Never said a word about it. So it was kind of funny about that. But I like to do that every once in a while. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
I'm
Do
so
that.
I'm so creative. But yeah, that was that the layoff was kind of tough, and that mentally it sucked
Yeah.
because you know you've been in the entertainment business going on almost 40 years, and you're going, what the hell am I going to do now? And everybody goes, oh well, you can go do this. And I said, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I know this.
Hmm.
And well, didn't you go to college? Yeah, I went to college, but I know this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't this
My
college?
boots on the ground knows this.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so then after with all the health, everything, and so I retired. I retired back and I retired officially last year. I
Really.
just told everybody, I said, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And then I started doing this, and this is my cousin's fault.
Fault.
Yeah. My cousin down, and he's down in the valley. He's like, and he worked for Motorola.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and same thing happened to him. He got laid off. He's a year younger than I am. He
Oh,
and I
wow.
were a year apart, and he got laid off. And I called him one day and I said, dude, did you get laid off? And he goes, yeah. And I said, oh man, I'm so sorry. And he goes, what are you going to do? And he goes, well, I'm going to go back into doing voiceover stuff. And he goes, I'm probably going to go back to the radio station. And I said, okay. And so then I started kind of looking into doing voiceover work. And he goes, you should do a podcast. And I went, why would I do a podcast? And he goes, you've been in the business for so long, you know all these people. Just start bringing people on, start talking to them and things. So and so I just started messing with it, and then I kind of put the word out and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. Anybody want to jump on? And everybody was like going, oh yeah, oh I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it.
Awesome.
And most of the people's down. I think this one's number 19, I think.
Wow.
And so it was but then I start, contacting people, go, hey, you want to come do it? Oh, I can't now. I can't,
Right.
And so and now I have the unicorns that I'm chasing, and you being one of them. And then
I heard my brother had to kind of step in for me and say, she doesn't answer her phone,
yes,
even for me.
yes, he does.
I don't.
He did. He said she won't answer her phone.
No,
Shoot her a message.
it's called in my family. It's literally a term we call the pizza man. Because when I was little, there was a rabbit in my dog's mouth. We were leaving the farm, so I'm like, we got to save the rabbit. So save the rabbit, bring it home, and he's still a little bit fucked up, but he's he's a bunny. And so my mom goes, well, you have to call the vet and ask them what to feed him and how to feed him and all this kind of stuff. And so I called the vet that we use for our dog. And the lady was a giant bitch. And she goes, you need to let that bunny back into the wild. That bunny doesn't know what to do. And I go, it's almost dying, ma'am. I'm trying to save it. So anyway, she goes all over me. And I just finally handed the phone to my mom. And from that point on, no phone calls. No. But you can't get me on the phone. I mean, it's all but impossible. So we have one term which is called pizza man, which means I'm not going to answer the phone or I'm not going to call people. And then the other term that we use in our family is called tree housing. And what tree housing is tree housing was started by my brother because every time when we were little, we would hang out and he goes, hey, Liz, Do you want to build a tree house? And I'm like, yes, I want to build a tree house. And we never fucking finished the tree house ever. It's so it's a verb in my family. It's like, look, don't treehouse me on this. Okay, I'm gonna need you to be there.
That's kind of like with Tracy and I. Like if she calls me and I swipe it and send her to voicemail, I'll get a text from her. She goes, "Don't you ever rock star me?" And I was like, I had to. I'm in a meeting.
So, mostly my brother's the treehouser, but he's getting much better.
He was so funny. He was just, I just talking to him and him coming up with, he goes, "Do you remember this? And you remember that?" And I was like, "Oh my God."
His memory, it's like, well, he's a genius, right? Like the doctor, they did tests on him when he was little, and the doctor told my mom, okay, look, the dude's a genius, but don't tell him because it can make him cocky. You just never know. And so, like, all the shit that happens in his head, I'm like, I, well, first of all, being in there, I think is probably like, if I was in his brain, I would picture the first time you walked into a hoarder's house. That's what I think his brain is. Yeah, it's like a bunch of old pizza boxes and all this kind of shit. But yet his memory, I don't know if it's like, what do you call it? Like when you see something and you don't, like a photographic memory. I don't know, but he remembers things that I'm like, no, I have no recollection of that.
Yeah, he brought up some stuff that I went, "Wait a minute." I had to sit and wait and think for a minute. And then I went, "Oh yeah, I remember that." But it took me a minute. But I mean, he was just popping stuff off left and right,
Everything.
And so that was funny when just talking to him. My God, he and I hadn't talked in a long time either. And
Well, I'm sure it took an hour for him to talk about all of his animals.
no, we talked about, we did a little bit, but we were busy talking about when he'd come into the Cowboys and everybody'd run to the bathroom, or he'd come to my bar and I said, "Dude, don't start bringing up my bar. Please don't. No." One of the guys I was talking to, he was in Holland K. Smith. He had a band and he used to play at the bar.
Uh-huh.
And it was called the Den.
That's right. That's right.
But he called it the Den of Iniquities, is what he called it. And then Vinnie Paul called it something else. He almost got me busted.
Oh.
I had this big giant fish,
Mm-hmm.
and it's out in the garage now, but it hung over the register in the bar. And so,
is it like a blue marlin or something?
It's a marlin.
Okay.
Yeah, that I'd caught like when I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
I've had this thing forever. And so the deal was, if anybody famous came in the bar, they had to autograph the fish.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, of course, Vinny's on there, Dimebag's on there, Rex is on there, Chuck Rainey's on there. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and all these autographs and stuff. Well, Dime wrote something. I remember what it was, and then Vinny wrote, "Here's the Gavan and the Coke Den," and then he put Vinnie Paul. And he put it up there. I went, okay. And so I just left it alone, and I didn't think nothing else about it. Well, TABC came in one day, and they weren't no trouble or anything. They were just doing usual walkthrough checkup and all that stuff. And so they're sitting at the bar, and I'm on the other side of the bar, and we're talking, and there's two of them, and one of the agents keeps looking at the fish. He goes, "That's a really cool fish." And I told him the story. I said, "Yeah, I caught it back in high school, and we just thought it'd be funny just to hang it up. But we had famous people would sign it if they came in."
Right.
And he looked up and he goes, "The Coke Den." And I'm going, "Oh yeah, that was a guy that plays in a band, and he was, I don't know what he was doing something crazy." And he goes, "Oh, that's interesting." And I said, "Yeah." And so, then we went on back to talk and everything, and we finished up and they left. And then I ran back into the office and I got one of the bottles of Goof Off. and I took the word Coke out of there so that it just says, here it is to Gavan in the den now. But there's a gap there.
But there's a
between-
gap. The
And
den.
then he came in one day and he was looking at it. He goes, hey, he goes, who's been messing with my autograph? And I said, I did that because you almost got me busted with the TBC.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, thank you so very much.
Oh.
He'd mess with me all the time. He'd come in and just jack with me all the time. I was like, he came in on my birthday one night. And he had this, and Jim brought this up. I had forgotten about it. Your brother brought this up. And he goes, you remember when Vinny came to your birthday party at the bar? I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of. Because remember he had that big Ziploc bag full of flour, and he came in and goes, hey, come on, man, we're going to start the party. And I went, oh, shit, yes, I remember that. And I was like, damn it, Vince. And
No, of course, my brother.
the picture that's behind me that he and I were sitting on the couch that he autographed, that was
that's a great picture.
He brought that because Tracy took that picture. We were at Jenny's house one time and he was on the couch, or I was on the couch, and he came over, jumped in next to me, leaned in, and Tracy took a picture, and then she blew it up, and he brought it to me. He autographed it.
That's cool.
It was so nice of him. So,
well, he and his brother, Vinny and Daryl, were the sons of Jerry Abbott.
For the boys.
To the boys. And Jerry Abbott was the first person to ever produce any of my songs.
You mean this book?
That is the book.
Is that the book?
Uh-huh.
And I do believe that now. I've read it. I'm almost done. I kind of stopped somewhere back here in the back, right there. But there was discussions, and their father, and I didn't know this because I thought it was going to be a lot of him talking about Daryl and Vinny and stuff, which he doesn't.
Right.
He does. There's a little spot in there where he talks about it. Of course, he dedicates everything, but he started talking about a female singer that he used to work with.
Really? Because I've not read the book. I have the book.
And you should read the book because it brought up. Now he didn't mention any names, but Jim swears that you're one of them that he's talking about.
It could be because he and I worked really hard getting the records out. And this is when Pantera, they were still in a van, and they would be in his studio, get her all packed up stuff, and just young, but they were always so cool to me and loved my music, even though it was country. They were like, "Oh, we totally get it, love it." And then Jerry started promoting my singles on the independent charts. And so I had like a number 1, a number 2, and a number 4 on the independent charts. And, it doesn't necessarily get you any money, but it gets you the airplay to hopefully get out there. And it was playing in Europe and, got all this fan mail. And then it just got too much. He's like, you have to hire a different promoter. And so then, I just kind of skipped off of that. And then I think I got offered the job at Cowboys pretty quick after that. And so it was funny because in later years, if Pantera was in town, if they were playing anywhere close, once they were done, they would come to Cowboys, whether it was Cowboys Dallas or Cowboys Red River.
Yep.
And they'd always come to the front of the stage when I was singing and, like bring me a beer or say hi or whatever. And all my friends are like, how the fuck do you know Pantera and why are you friends with them? That just doesn't seem. And I go, well, first of all, they like my music, so that's cool. And I go, second of all, kind of grew up with them. I mean, their dad did so many. Their dad did 3 albums for me.
Did
So
he?
I spent a lot of time in Pantego at Pantego Sound where the guys, and then the Cowboys from Hell album came out for Pantera and they were fucking gone. I mean, it was huge. But Jerry was, and still, I don't know where he is now.
Well, he's gone. He passed.
He did pass
He
away.
did pass. Yeah, it's in the book, and I believe he passed in 20. 20. What year is this now? 25.
Yeah.
It was in 22, I think, maybe. But yeah,
Wow.
he had passed, and I was reading it, and because I didn't know if he was alive or not, and I started
Yeah.
reading it, and then I saw that where he had passed.
I didn't know
But
that.
yeah, but I never met him, but I always heard he was a really great
He
guy.
was just a sweet man.
And I started reading the book, and I did not realize the 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 weight he pulled in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy cow, because he worked with some major people.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you haven't read the book, have you?
I have not.
I'll show you something if I can find it real quick.
Okay.
And you're gonna laugh. It's gonna crack you up if I can find it. Nope, it's not that one. These were the old pictures back in the beginning. And
The Sportatorium.
yep,
I never went to the Sportatorium. I always wanted to see the Von Erichs.
the Von Erichs. God. And let me see. Right there.
Is that Debonair Dance Land?
This is the Western Debonaires. The Western Debonaires at Deb's Dance Land. Who the hell do you think that is right there on the end?
I don't know. Is that Jerry?
No, that's Junior Knight.
Oh my gosh.
That is Junior Knight.
Wow.
I took a picture of that, and I sent that to Junior, and I said,
Wow.
who's that good-looking guy on the end? He goes, where the hell did you get that? And I said, that's in Jerry's book.
Wow.
And he goes, oh, you've got the book? And I said, yeah, I'm reading the book right now. And I said, weren't you young and studly back?
It's like the old school Willie Nelson picture. Wow, you're so clean and good looking.
I said, man, you just looked all just young and just all attractive and everything. Now you're old and beat it. No, I can't do that. I love him to death.
He's awesome.
He's one of the great steel guitar players out there,
Oh
folks.
man, yes, him and Mitchell Smithy. Man, one of my favorite stories about Mitchell Smithy was was one night, and he didn't really drink. I mean, he usually would just go to the band room and hang out, very soft spoken. And one night he got fucking hammered. I mean, we were all like, something going on with you or what? He goes, nah, I'm fine. He goes, the last time I came home drunk, he goes, I get in bed. My wife said, get off me, you fat bastard. It was like, and he never even cussed. Like, he didn't cuss. He didn't drink. And it was like, who are you right now? Get off me, you fat bastard.
He was, well, I can tell you, you didn't go to the big party.
No, I was sick. Yeah.
And Jim was at the big party in Fort Worth. And what did they call it? It was like what was the reunion party?
Yes.
Cowboys reunion party.
Yeah.
Well, Tracy and I went.
Uh-huh.
And I lied. I told everybody I wasn't going because I had to go to Boston and do a show because I was still working then. And everybody was like going, oh man, we wanted to see you and blah, blah, blah. And I did it because Tracy was, she was kind of worried because there had been some bar shootings. There had been a couple. And she was really kind of freaked about it. She goes, what if somebody starts coming and starts shooting? I said, I'll throw a table through the window and we'll be gone.
Oh, right.
And so we went, but that was my get out of jail free card. If we didn't go, I just tell everybody, I said, I had to go to Boston. Sorry. So,
right.
Well, we went, I showed up. And
it was at the Longhorn Saloon.
Was it? It's the one that Jimmy Grayson owns. I think maybe it is the Longhorn.
I think that's where it was.
Yeah, that's the one that Jimmy owns. And So I show up and everybody starts screaming at me, going, "You lied! You fucking knew you were lying. You were coming." And it's like,
Hey, I'm here.
and yeah, I said, "I'm here." And so I'm standing there, and somebody pushes me from behind, and I turn around, and there's this guy standing there. He goes, "Hey, Gavin, how's it going?" And I'm going, doing good," and didn't know who the hell it was.
Hate
And I do too.
that.
And he goes, "Gavin?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "It's me, Mitchell." And I went, "Oh God, man, I am so sorry. I'm an asshole."
Really?
But his hair was gray. He just looked so different. And I said, "Mitchell, I am so sorry, man." I hugged him and I said, "It's so good to see you." And I think he got up and played. Like the Law played. They got the band back together. Everybody was there,
Wow.
except for Bobby. Bobby wasn't there, but everybody else was. Danny was there. Dino was there.
Really?
Elliot. I think Mitchell was there. I saw Dale Jr., but he left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't play because he had to go. He had another gig or something to do.
Ah.
And what was funny was I was on YouTube one day, and there was a video of Marty Stewart
Oh, really?
at Farm Aid one year.
Okay.
And he's jamming, and I'm thinking, cool. And I keep looking up, and I said, that fiddle player, he's got real long hair, and he's just getting after it. And I wrote on there, I said, "Somebody tell me, is that Dale Morris Jr.?" And about an hour later, a message popped up, and he goes, "Hey, it's me. It's Dale." "Yeah, that's me." And I went,
What? I did not know he played for Marty Stewart.
"Yeah, he played for Marty Stewart. He was playing at Farm Aid." And
wow.
he had this real long hair. And I was like, "Holy shit." I said, "Dude, I thought that was you, but I couldn't place it." And we started laughing, and that's when I said, "You need to come on with me. We need to talk." But he's another unicorn I'm trying to get.
Right.
But I saw a picture of him the other day. He looks so different.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yes. We're getting old.
Yeah, I know.
That
It
sucks.
sucks. I fucking hate getting old. Like, I hate it.
Well, you're younger than I am, so
Ugh.
you're.
I'm gonna be 55 next month.
Oh well, shit. You're just
I don't want to be 55.
gonna be the old double nickel.
Double nickel. Speaking of double nickel, this is probably not a story I should share, but I'm gonna. So one day I'm leaving Cowboys Arlington in my car. I do not suggest that anybody do this at all.
But real quick, before we do anything, ladies and gentlemen, we want to let you know that we do change the names of people and places to protect the retarded folks that we hung out with, just to let you know that. So okay, back to your story. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
So I get in the car after my gig, and I should not have been behind the wheel. And I'm driving from Arlington back to North Dallas. Okay, so it's far. And I get pulled over, and I'm like, I'm fucking going to jail. I mean, I am. There's me no way around it. So the cop pulls me over, and I'm on 360 in Arlington, and he goes, "I need to see your license and registration." So I handed it to him and everything, and he looks at my license, and then he looks at me, and license, and he goes, because the license says Elizabeth Callender, and Callender's spelled differently. And he looks at me and he goes, "Are you Liz Callender that sings the Cowboys?" And I go, "Yeah, that's me." He goes, "God damn it." And I was like, is that a good God damn it or a bad one? And he goes, "Well, here's the deal. My wife loves you. She thinks that you're the best singer that's, ever been. And if I take you to jail, I will never get laid again." I'm like, oh my gosh. He goes, "So here's the fucking deal. You're going to tend into double nickel the whole way back to your house, aren't you?" I go, "Yes, sir. That's exactly what I'm going to do." And he goes, "And you're not going to do this again, are you?" And I go, "Never." And he let me go. And I was like, oh, that was the scariest thing. But when he goes, "God damn it."
I wish that cop that threw me in jail that one night, he had asked me that question. We got Tracy and I, once we left we left the HEB area and we moved back to Plano.
Oh, okay.
But the guy that was leasing my house wouldn't move out. And so we had to evict him. And so the thing was, where were we going to live? Because we'd already given notice.
Yeah,
on
isn't
the
that
apartment.
expensive to evict somebody?
It is. It's a pain in the ass. So if you ever have to evict anybody, good luck. But we had to find some place to live. And so my folks had this massive motorhome.
Oh, yeah.
And they go, why don't you just come live in the motorhome until you get your shit straightened out, and then you can just go do it. And so that's what Tracy and I did.
Sweet.
So we were staying in the motorhome. And so one night we just decided we were going to go to a movie. We weren't drinking when we were doing that. We said, look, let's just go to a movie, chill out. We've been working all week and we were both just worn out. We just wanted to go to a movie. So coming back through Little Elm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know Little Elm very well.
Yeah. And we get pulled over. And the cop said, well, you were speeding. And I said, officer, I know I was doing it because I was very careful about speed limit in Little Elm. Because I know those guys.
Mm-hmm.
They were everywhere. And so, and the other thing is that I had a warrant out. Now, before everybody gets all worked up about this.
Did you know?
I did. Well, I knew I hadn't paid the tickets. This was over traffic tickets. Okay.
Gotcha.
And of course, if you don't pay them at a certain time, or you don't go to see the judge before a certain time, they're going to put a bench warrant out on you.
Right.
Well, I had one. Well, so did my lovely wife. She had one too. So the cop comes up.
Double trouble.
Yep. The cop comes up and I gave him all my information, everything. And he goes, okay, I'll be right back. And so he went back to the car. And I noticed that he was getting stuff out of his back seat and putting it in the trunk. And then another unit rolled up. And I went, okay, this is not looking good.
This feels really bad.
And I told Tracy, I said, I could be going to jail. And she goes, well, Gavin, I've got a warrant because of my tickets. She had tickets too. And I went, and I was thinking, just don't give him a wrong name. Don't. So the cop comes up, he gives me the ticket and everything. He goes, here's the ticket. It gives all my stuff back. And he goes, okay, thank you. And he goes, now I need you to step out of the car. And I went, son of a bitch. And I knew I was busted. And he said, you've got a warrant. And I said, oh, okay. And so he goes, and I got out and he backed up and he goes, you're not going to give me any trouble, are you? Because at that time I was, I'm 6'6", and I was like, at that time I was right at 300 pounds.
He's like,
and he backed up and he goes, you're not going to give me a hard time. I said, no, sir. You tell me what I got to do and I'm going to do it.
Right.
I ain't playing that. I'm a sovereign citizen shit. I ain't doing that. Yeah. I wasn't driving. I was traveling. Screw that. But he locked me up and while he's putting me in the back of the car, the other cop from the other car goes in and is talking to Tracy. And I'm thinking, damn it. And so I'm sitting there and here comes Tracy in handcuffs. He puts her in the back seat next to me. And so she's bawling. And I said, Trace, don't cry, honey. It's just, we're not criminals. We just didn't pay tickets and we're just going to have to ride this one out. And so we start taking off. And I asked the officer, I said, so where is the Little Elm jail? And he goes, we don't have a jail. And I was going, we're going to county, aren't we? And he goes, yep. So we went to Denton County Jail.
Oh.
So as we're going, he keeps looking at me in the rearview mirror. And he goes, hey. And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, you look really familiar. He goes, what do you do? And I said, I run Red River. And it was kind of the same thing. God damn it. Because, man, I knew you from somewhere. He goes, if I had known that sooner, we wouldn't even be in this situation.
Now I've done the fucking paperwork.
Yeah, and now and I said, well, and he goes, I've already called it in. And I said, no, we're not. No, if you've got to take me and you do your job, I'm not,
Right.
We'll deal with it. And I said, but I said, you will pay cover from now on, and you're paying full price for drinks now. And he goes, oh, come on. No.
Sorry, dude.
It was a trade-off. Sorry. And so,
Oh gosh.
and he did come by and see me a couple of times after.
Did he
that.
really?
Oh yeah, he came by and saw me.
That's cool.
He come up and go, and I said, shut up, you're gonna buy you a shot.
I should have paid the tickets anyways.
But it was so funny because we had to go before the judge afterwards. And so Tracy and I went to the judge together, and she stood up first and he did all her stuff. And I had to go before the judge in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in there with meth heads, and I was in there with
Drunks and
drug dealers. And there was a kid
vomiting people.
There was a kid in there for murder. There was
Holy shit.
And so I go before the judge, and she said, you have this, 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 and this. I said, yes, ma'am. And she goes, okay, your fine's going to be like almost $4,000. And all the guys behind me go, damn. And so I went, sat back down there. I'm going, dude, what'd you do? What'd you do? And I said, it's over traffic tickets. And they go, yeah, sure, it's traffic tickets. Yeah, sure. And so I cash bonded out.
Right.
Well, my family cash bonded my ass out. and I said, what about Tracy? And they said, she can call her mom. She can get her out. Of course, she called her mom. Her mom wouldn't have nothing to do with it. So, and so I'm leaving, and Tracy's pressed up against the glass looking at me going, where are you going? And I said, I'll be back. I'll come back.
Coming to get you. Oh, God. That was such a similar story.
I had to go get my car out of the impound. I had to get the truck out of the impound. I had to do all this shit. And then I had to go to a bail bondsman. I bonded her out. Well, then we went before the judge later on, and he deferred all her stuff. She had to pay like $300 or $400. Right. It wasn't anything bad. And then he looked at me and goes, did they charge you like $4,000? And I said, yes, sir, they did. And he goes, no. He goes, you're getting all that back. And I said, thank you. Because
that never happens.
Because my parents put up the money and they were going to kill me. They wanted to kill me.
You're like, you just saved my life, Judge.
And I did. I pretty much was. And he said, now, and he pointed at Tracy, he goes, stand up for a minute. And she stood up and she said, yeah. And he goes, I'm going to tell you two something right now. And I'm going, okay. And I'm waiting.
It's like you're in trouble when you're 10. And
he goes, you two do not belong together. I suggest you go your separate ways. And he said, now get out of my courtroom. And I said, yes, sir. Thank you. Bye. And I married her. How did you imagine that?
I was like, wow. That's a very large statement, Judge.
It was. It really was. He was just not kidding around.
You can have your money back, but leave your girlfriend.
It was like when we first met, when she and I met. I've told this story 100 times, but it's like, there was a guy that we knew that had a bar down in Deep Ellum.
Uh-huh.
And you know how it was when we'd close the bars up, but we'd end up somewhere.
Yeah.
We'd always end up at his place down in Deep Ellum where he'd lock us all in.
Uh-huh.
And then there was different rooms in there, and we'd just all be in there, sipping, iced tea and, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was talking to this guy at the bar one night. He had long-haired dude, and he come over and he said, hey, how's it going? I said, oh, it's going, and he introduced himself and he played, and he goes, I said, what do you do? He goes, well, I play guitar in a band. I went, no, really? And so we were talking, and he goes, oh, dude, he goes, you got to meet my girlfriend. And I said, okay. So we go into this other room, and there were these two high back chairs, but the backs were turned towards us, so I couldn't see who was in the chairs. Mm-hmm. So we went around, and he goes, hey, babe, this is Gavan. Gavan, this is Tracy.
Uh-oh.
So there's this little blonde-headed girl. Mm-hmm. She's passed out in this chair, and she's drooling on herself.
Oh, no.
And I said, how are you doing? Don't get up. Pleasure to meet you.
Don't bother getting up.
We'll catch up some other time. And we walked off. And as I'm walking off, I'm thinking, I'm going to marry that girl.
No way.
No, I wasn't thinking about that. I
I was
thought,
like,
I was
you
like,
gotta be kidding
I was
me.
like, what in the hell did I just see?
Who are you introducing me to?
And then they started showing up at my bar, and Tracy's she's a flirt anyway. You know how she is. She's very flirtatious, and she still is to this day. And
And ornery.
oh yeah, and he was not, and her boyfriend was just not happy about it because she would flirt with me, and you know,
And he
and
was just like a piece of old thick.
and then even even the lady that was helping me run the bar, Barbara, she goes, "You stay away from her. She's trouble. You don't go near. She's trouble. I know them. She's trouble." And I said, "Okay."
Holy shit! How many warnings did you need?
I don't know. And so, and lo and behold, her and her boyfriend broke up, and we started going out well, she came to me one time. We had just kind of started dating, and
Mhm.
Tracy was, she wanted to get out of the business. She was into bar business. She was into different bar business. And so we'll leave it at that.
Gotcha. 10-4.
And she goes, "Could you teach me how to tend bar? I want to be a bartender. I want to stop." And I said, "Okay." So I taught her how to tend bar, and she just took to it like a fish in water.
Really?
Yeah, she just went nuts. And so she started working for me. And then that's where it really, and then Barb was going, "I can't believe you hired her. You got to stay away from her. She's trouble. She's dead." Yeah.
So was Barb at the wedding?
No, she wasn't.
Oh no!
No, because I lost touch with her.
Okay.
I lost touch with her, and I've actually found her. We're actually messaging back and forth
That's
again,
cool.
just to see how
Just to let her
Yeah.
know you did marry her.
And like I posted about our anniversary. She goes, "Oh, I'm so glad you guys love you guys." And it's like, wait a minute, aren't you the one that told me to stay away from her? I said, that was a long time ago. Long time ago.
Yeah, I changed my mind.
So yeah.
Yeah. Women are allowed to.
Oh my God.
Well, I remember whenever I was playing with the Red River Mudcats, we lost our Dixie and BR. Dixie was our drummer, BR was the bass player. They left. Whatever, they were pissed off or something, so they left. So we needed a bass player and a drummer because we had all these gigs lined up, mostly at casinos, but the next gig was at Toby Keith's bar in the Hard Rock Casino in Tulsa. So Jeff Parker asked me, he goes, "Do you know any bass players?" And I go, "The only bass player that I know that I could call is Curtis Randall." And he used to play with me at Dallas Cowboys. And then he went on to tour with Leanne Rhymes and, be her music manager and bass player and all that kind of stuff. Pretty much her dad. I mean, really. And so Jeff called Curtis, and Curtis goes, "Hell yeah, I'll play with y'all." And so Curtis would ride with me to the gigs. Now, being in the car with Curtis Randall for 2.5, 3 hours, I mean, you're gonna piss your pants laughing so hard because of all of his stories. But my favorite story that he told me was when Cowboys Dallas was across the street at the yacht club. Remember the White Rock Yacht Club?
Mm-hmm.
That's originally where the bar was.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
so Curtis was, playing, in the band for them, or maybe he had auditioned and they hadn't let him in the band yet. But Johnny Paycheck was playing that night. And so what they did was they go, "Okay, well, we don't really have a place for you because Johnny Paycheck brought his bass player with him. So what we're going to do is we're going to put you in charge of Johnny Paycheck." Because in 1975 or 80, Johnny Paycheck did he made the cartel a lot of money, and he made I don't know, Seagram's a lot of money, Coors Light. Anyways, so Curtis is in charge of Johnny Paycheck. So Johnny Paycheck ends up, getting fucking hammered, okay? And so he's hammered on stage when he did the gig. And so, the owners at the time were pissed at Curtis and everything. They're like, dude, come on, man. Like he's gotta be upright and able to do his job. And so he was singing 2 nights in a row. Well, the next night, um, he's taking Johnny Paycheck back to his motel or whatever, and he's hammered and he gets out of Curtis's car. And this is when Curtis is inside the motel trying to book him his room and get the key and everything. And Curtis goes back to his car, and Johnny Paycheck is gone. And he's like, fuck, I lost Johnny Paycheck. And so he looks, and here's Johnny Paycheck walking up the entrance ramp, 635. And he's like, and he's hammered, and he's walking by Braille. So here goes Curtis running up the ramp, 635. And he's like, Johnny, you have to get back. You can't, this is a highway. And so, anyways, he finally gets him back into the hotel. He has to call his wife, he's newly married, and promise her that he's not doing anything nefarious. He's just like, I lost Johnny Paycheck, then I found him, and now I've got him in the hotel room. And so, because I get back to work, and the one thing they said was, you had one fucking job, man, and you lost Johnny Paycheck. I was like, oh, will forever be remembered as losing Johnny Paycheck.
Oh my God.
You got one job, man.
It's those stories that with those guys, because how many of those people did we have to deal with that were just
yeah,
David Allen Coe?
Those.
I mean, we got stories on that one. Tracy Lawrence when he was drinking.
Oh God, remember Tracy Lawrence? He came in just to visit one time because there's a lot of things to play with at Cowboy Style. And he showed up, wasn't booked or anything, and everybody's like, oh, hey, we want to get up on stage and sing a few songs. And he was like, sure, I'll do that. And so I was actually off work, and because it was like the third set, and I'm going upstairs to get my guitar and get out of there. And I get up to the band room, and my guitar's gone. And I'm like, it's irreplaceable. I mean, I'm like, where the fuck is my guitar? And so I walk, down by the bar, and I'm looking up on stage, and I see Tracy Lawrence up there fucking playing my guitar. And I'm like, okay, that's like a cardinal sin for anybody to touch a musician's instrument.
Yeah,
anything. But I was so pissed. And so now I had to wait to go home. And he was done singing and everything. And so he's walking up the stairs. I'm standing at the top of the stairs in the band room. And he goes, is this your guitar? And I go, yeah, it is. And he goes, man, it fucking plays great. I go, I fucking know. I know it.
I know it's mine.
Yeah, it's mine. And I don't remember saying, yeah, Tracy, you can play it. He was like, oh, well, you want me to sign it for you? And I go, fuck no.
No.
I fucking want it back. And I'd like to go. Yeah.
I remember that because
so pissed.
I remember that because it was the last, they had finished, y'all were just finishing up the last set.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tracy wanted to go back up. And so I had to go down and tell Alton, the sound guy, I said, Alton, Tracy wants to come back and play. And Alton was already unhooking stuff, but he was getting ready to go home.
Oh, shit.
And
now he doesn't have a guitar.
And I had never seen Alton go off the deep end like he did that night.
Really?
Motherfucker, I ain't got time for this shit. Why has he got to come and, and he's plugging shit back in again? And I'm like, Alton, just, dude, please, just for me, if you'll just do this, please. And, man, I swear to God, I just want to kill somebody sometime. It was just...
I didn't know Alton was as pissed as I was that night.
Oh,
he and I should have had a beer together.
He was so mad. And we did it. And then he goes, now, they walked by and he goes, hey. And I said, because now, are we done now? And I said, yeah, we're done. He goes, okay. And he just starts unhooking everything and he just leaves. And that was the first time I'd really seen Alton just go off a deep end.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Alton was always
He
pretty
was just a
chill.
chill dude.
Yeah, he's just very chill. But man, he just that one time and
he
just
followed that decimal reader thing, you know. Do you remember the decimal reader that was red, and we could see it from stage, and so it would tell you how many decibels we
Mhm.
were. We weren't allowed to be over such and
Oh
such.
yeah.
And he is the only guy that I worked with at all three of the different cowboys that ever paid attention to that. Now, there was the sound guy in Atlanta. Damn it, I can't remember his name. It was like Snake or Spider or something like that. So, anyways, he did. Maybe he had some hearing loss because I think he liked really heavy metal, maybe. But the decibel meter, I mean, I'm like, it doesn't read that high.
It was
up to
just
fucking
pegged. It was pegged. And
Nobody can hear anything. I could barely hear myself sing. Like, God, what was his name?
I don't
It's
remember.
gonna bug me.
I went over to. They sent me out to Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
to once they took that bar over, and they sent me out. They sent Jeff with me also, the lighting guy, Hollywood.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so Jeff and I went out there to do that, and we go walking in. We get there, we go walking in, and some guy walks up and goes, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm Gavan. They sent me from Dallas to come out here to help you with the music or something." Oh yeah, well, the big gruff guy that came up to me was Larry Robinson. He was
Okay.
he was running that bar at the time, and
I forgot that.
and Larry and I, for some, I don't know how it happened or anything, because you know how Larry was.
Yeah.
Larry was just Larry.
Yep.
But he and I just clicked right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we hit it, and he was I mean, anything we wanted, he goes. They had a full kitchen in that restaurant in there, and he went back and he's making us lunch, and he goes, "You guys want to go to the Falcons game tomorrow? I got tickets. I'll give you tickets." And they had just built the new stadium, and so we did all that. And then when I found out he was coming to Arlington, when we made that move, and he was coming out there, then it was, oh my God.
Well, he wasn't there when they fired me. He had already moved to Arlington, so it wasn't Larry Robinson, because Larry and I got along swimmingly. I mean, you know, he and I both had great respect for each other and were kind, and it just always had a good relationship. So he had already gone, and then I think it was Bob Johnson that was the one that let me go. But one of the funniest things that happened was whenever they hired me back because I had lost some weight, and they were like, "Hey, you want your job back?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah." I mean, it's the best paying fucking musician gig in the world. You don't have to tear down or set up. You walk in and you tune your guitar and you sing. Yes, I want my job back. And so I was at Red River and I was opening for, I don't know why that's bothering me. I was opening for, I believe it was Keith Urban. And I was writing my set list. And Bobby Smith goes, "Hey, I don't want you singing that Devil Went Down to Georgia song anymore." And I was like, "What? Why?" I mean, everybody loved it. And he goes, "It's just not something a girl should be singing." I go, "Bobby, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, other than your two
Yeah.
God rest his soul."
Yes.
I love Bobby. And so, anyways, I'm on stage now, and it's a fucking packed house. And I had done a couple songs, and I mean, as a musician, you just get the feel for shit, like reading your crowd. I mean, there's an art to all that you have to hone after years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the time right now to sing "Devil Went Down to Georgia." So I fucking sang "Devil Went Down to Georgia." I think it was probably my last song for my little set, and the fucking crowd went absolutely crazy. I mean, it was like the roar. I mean, it still gives me chills. I remember it. And so we got done. I walked off stage, and Bobby Smith's just standing there, and he goes, "You're fucking fired." And I go, "Why am I fired?" And he goes, "I told you, goddamn it, not to sing that Deb Went Down Georgia song. You did it anyway." And I go, "But everybody fucking loved it." He goes, "I don't care. I told you not to do it. You're fired." I was like, "Okay, whatever." And so walking to the bar to get a beer, and I passed Larry Robinson, and Larry goes, "Oh, Liz, what a fucking incredible set that was. Man, you nailed it." I go, "Really?" Because I just got fired. And he goes, "What? Who fired you?" And I go, "Bobby Smith." He goes, "Why did he fire you?" I go, "Because I sang Devil Went Down to Georgia, and he told me not to." And he goes, "Okay, well, that's bullshit. You're hired back." I go, "Oh, okay, great." And so the next time I saw Bobby, 30 minutes later or so, I don't know what he said to me. It was, something along the lines of, "Why are you still here?" or whatever. And I'm like, "Oh, as I get hired back." Yeah. And then I had to write him an apology letter. That's what Larry made me do. He goes, "You know what? You did overstep him, and I didn't directly go to Larry. I just told him I got fired after he told me I had a great set." And so I wrote an apology letter to Bobby about not respecting him as the music director and da 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 da. But still, it was funny. I was like, I was fired so many fucking times from Cowboys. I was fired 4 fucking times.
I was like, how many times do we all get fired from Cowboys?
Well, the thing that people ask me, they're like, "Okay, so they fired you 3 times for being overweight. Why did you go back the second time?" Like, everyone's like, "The first time somebody fired me for being overweight, I'd be like, 'Fuck you, Mike.'" And I go, "You don't understand how easy the gig was and how much money they fucking paid me.
Yeah.
You'd have gone back too."
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And so, it was every time. Then I went back third time. And finally, the third time, I was just like, I can't handle this like emotionally, professionally, just everything creatively as an artist. I'm like, I can't handle this anymore. I literally walked off stage, grabbed my guitar in the case, and left, and never stepped foot back in any Cowboys ever again.
Yeah, it was. There was you got pushed to the limits.
Yeah.
And
There was a lot of powerful people.
Yes,
And
it was always somebody was making a power play always, and
totally.
I call Cassandra still.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do.
She told Marty Hedden, like, I don't know, several years ago. We still have that poster of Liz that was at the front of Cowboys Arlington, in the little like movie picture poster thing. And Pizza Man never called Cassandra. I have the number. Yep. I can't call her.
I check in with her every once in a while, and
She's awesome.
I'll try to. I called her one day and I said, "Hey," and I called her. I think it was like right before it was before Halloween one year. And I said, I called up and said, "Hey." She goes, "Yeah," and I said, "Y'all having that Halloween party tonight?" And she said, "Yeah," and I said, "Would I get in trouble if I come in my costume? I'm completely naked?" And she goes,
He's too sweet to ask that.
She is such a sweetheart. And she's such and I'm starting to laugh, and she goes, "Gavan, is that you?" And I said,
Your
"Yeah."
voice is very distinct.
And I said, "Yeah, it's me." And she goes, "You got to stop doing that."
Oh, God.
And now she catches me now when I call her now. I just say, "Hey, it's me." She goes, "I knew it was you." So, but Marty's back.
I thought he was in San Antonio.
He is. He's in San Antonio.
Had he always been there?
No, I thought he had quit singing. He kind of disappeared.
Oh.
And nobody knew what the hell happened to him. And I was talking to Cassandra. It's been a few months ago. And she said, "Well, Marty's back singing in San Antonio." And I said, "Really?" I said, "I hadn't heard his name in years, because I kind of heard he just kind of went away and just kind of disappeared."
I just figured he would be a lifer there and turn into the music director and just be a lifer.
I
Like a Bobby Smith almost.
yeah,
Huh, I wonder where he went.
I don't know. It was really weird, but he just kind of disappeared.
Hmm. I haven't talked to him either. I think we texted back and forth about something, but I mean, this
He
is
and I
6
didn't
or
get
7.
along. We didn't get along much anyway. I'm not much for for the the attitude of look at me and how special I am.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Yeah.
And even later on, and when I was producing shows, and like you would, I did, there was a thing called it was called the Black Tie event, and it was the
Yeah. I know.
Dallas Gay and Lesbian.
Yeah, heard of it.
And so I produced it 2 years,
Hmm.
and phenomenal, beautiful, most amazing thing. And everybody was there from politicians, the mayor, the
Oh, wow.
stars, to everything. Well, the keynote speaker, or the MC, was going to be, what was her name? Stockard Channing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Remember her from
Yeah,
Greece?
from Greece.
And they told us, now, don't look Stockard in the eye, don't speak to her, don't do that. And I'm the one person you don't want to tell that to, because I hate that.
Yeah.
I said, look, she's a person just like everybody else. I
Mhm.
will treat her with respect, but
Yeah.
I may have to deal with her. So I was walking down the hallway, and she was coming out of the green room, coming towards me up the
Mhm.
hallway. And she's just kind of walking with her head looking down, and I slowed down, and I kind of said, how are you doing tonight? Is everything okay? And she looked at me and got this look and then she just kind of scrambled off. She just scurried off, didn't say a word. And I was
Wow.
like, you're a freak because you let people turn you into a freak.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I tell people that, I said, the artist needs to know nothing. The only thing the artist needs to know is how to get on the stage
Mhm.
and how to
How to
get to
play
the
your
stage.
song,
You
sing,
do your
whatever.
thing,
Yeah.
and we leave you alone.
Mhm.
You don't need to know about the trouble. You don't need to know about anything.
Right.
And we always just kind of kept it that way. But there were some people that I like with Toby. Toby
Uh-huh.
Keith came and played one night.
I
And
remember it was New
again,
Year's Eve, actually.
here's the Toby. And so back in the day when um country was getting hot, and
Mhm.
the rock clubs and the dance clubs were drying up.
Right.
And I noticed that there was a lot of people that were coming from that side over to the countryside. And so that was the one thing. I'm looking at something here real quick, because I'm gonna have to go out and beat my dog if he doesn't quit with all the noise. I'll figure it out later. So this guy, Toby, came and played in Arlington one time, and his audio guy, his front of house guy, was some rock dude. He'd come from off some rock tour or something.
Right.
And back then, if you remember the old Yamaha board we had, the old Yamaha.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 3000.
Right.
Well, he wanted a 3500, and I said, we don't have a 3500. We have a 3000. And we had even created a rider for ourselves, and we sent it out and said, this is what we have.
Right.
If you want something different, you need to let us know
Sure.
plenty of time, and we'll make the adjustments.
Sure.
Well, he shows up and he goes, well, I've got to have a 3500. And I said, well, I don't have one, and I
And
can't
this is
get you
Toby
one.
Keith.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said, and this is the day of the show, so it ain't happening. So make it work. And he goes, well, we're just not going to go on. And I went, really? You're not going to go on? And so I don't think he knew that I knew Toby's road manager.
Mhm.
And
Was
then,
it Barney?
no, it was, I cannot remember what his name was to save my life. But he and I knew each other from way back at some other group. And So I went and got him, and I said, "Hey, I was talking to your audio guy, your front of house guy, and he said y'all aren't going to go on." He goes, What are you talking about?" So I told him what happened, and he said he wanted this board. And he goes, "That son of," and I said, "No, no, 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 no. You stay right there."
Right.
And I said, "No," I said, "I want you to just stay out of sight." And I said, and I said, "Just go with me on this one, okay?" And so I come walking back around the corner, and I turned around and I said, "I don't give a shit." I said, "I want all your stuff off my stage, get in the bus, and get the hell out of here." I said, "We're not doing this, and I'm not playing this, so get your crap and go." And of course, Toby's upstairs. He don't know nothing about
Right.
any of this. And he goes, because he goes, "Do we need to get Toby?" And I said, "No, no, no, no. Just leave Toby alone. He don't need to know any of this." And so, and I'm just yelling at him at the top of my lungs. I'm getting in the bus. Get out of here. I'm done with this. And I walk off,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of disappear. And he could see me, and I'm telling him, I'm saying, "Just stay where you are. Stay where
Right.
you are for a minute." And we're looking around the corner and I'm watching the audio guy, and he's starting to sweat a little bit. And and he's working knobs, and he's like, and
Mm-hmm.
he's thinking, "Well, I've screwed up." And
Yeah, I don't really have the authority to make that
yeah.
decision.
And so then we watched him for a while. And then I looked over and I said, "All right, you can have him now." And he went and got him,
And
and
laid into
he
it.
took him backstage and wore his ass out.
Oh.
He said, ever, don't you ever say we're not going." He goes, he goes, "I'm not." And then it just went on and on and on. And after that, I walked by and he go, "Hey, Gavin, everything okay? You need anything? You good? You good on it?" "No, I'm cool."
Yeah, I'd like an espresso,
Yeah,
and I'd like it to be 115 degrees.
I'd like to smack your ass and scratch your eyes out. I would.
Right.
But I just and I would just walk by. "No, I'm good. I'm fine." It just brought him back down to the level
Don't
he
try
needed to
and
be.
come up with you. I'm better than you.
Yeah,
I have more bells and whistles.
don't do
I'm
that.
demanding this. It's the
And
demanding thing.
it is,
Big-
and it used to drive me crazy.
Yeah.
And people would say, "Well, don't do this," or don't. And then I said, "Then keep them away from me,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't. I'm not that. I just treat you like everybody else."
Right.
And I'm like, "Hey," and
Which is the way it should be.
yeah, and one of the coolest guys I think I ever got to deal with, who was nice and just a sweet individual, and I wasn't sure it was Jay Leno.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I went up to him and I introduced myself, and I said, I may play backstage. "Oh, hey, how's it going? We're talking." We started talking cars, so I started showing pictures of my cars. He goes, "Oh yeah, those are nice." And I said,
That's cool.
"Yeah, I heard you've got a few." And he goes, "Yeah, I got a couple."
Yeah.
And but he was just one of those guys that he would just visit and talk and shoot the shit. He was just a happy guy.
That's cool.
But then you get some of those people that are like, "Yeah, don't talk to me," and
Well, I remember we opened for Sammy Kershaw in Atlanta, Kennesaw Cowboys, and whenever he was ready to come on stage, well, you were in Kennesaw, so you know that back hallway,
Mhm.
and it had like uh, Gary, the drummer, he had his own office. Then there was a band room, and then if you walked further down and went up some stairs, then I had a dressing room up there. Well, when he was ready to come on stage, well, first of all, his jeans were so tight that I was like, "There's no way he can fucking breathe in those. There's no way." But nobody could be in the hallway. Okay. No one. And I happened to be standing in the hallway. I didn't get this information probably because I'm like, what the fuck ever. And sure enough, here comes this big giant bouncer dude. He's like, "Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to move aside and get out of the hallway. Sammy Kershaw's coming through." "Oh, okay." And so I just went into Gary's office, but I was like, what was that all about? It's like, you're really not all that. Then I heard bad stories about Lori Morgan and how she wanted gummy bears and she wouldn't go on stage till she got gummy bears, some shit. I'm like, half of the stuff we don't know because we're getting our set list together and doing whatever, but
God, I did. There were so many things because I worked for, um, I worked for RCA Nashville for a little while.
Oh,
And
really? You
yeah,
work for RCA Nashville?
yeah. And in the
Those are
Dallas,
the people that gave me my record deal.
right. And I remember all that. I
Yeah.
was working with them at the time, and because they were asking me about you, and I said,
Really?
yeah. And I said, you got to go see her. And well, such and such is coming. I said, you're going to like what you see, what you hear.
Mhm.
And so, but the girl that I worked for, her name was Ginger McFadden. Well,
I know that name.
her father was McFadden and Associates in Nashville.
Oh, that's why I know.
He was Keith Whitley's manager,
Yeah.
and Keith was married to Lori Morgan at the time, so he was her manager, and he managed all these people, and so she was telling me the story about Lori one time, how she she went into the office and she was talking to Miss McFadden about something was wrong with Keith, and he goes, "What's the problem?" She goes, "Well, he just doesn't seem like, he's just really into me right now." And he goes, "Well, what do you mean?" And she goes, "Well, we'll usually like try to have sex, at least 2 or 3 times a day,
Oh, wow.
And he's like, well, honey, he just came off the road. He's probably tired. Let him get some rest."
Right.
And I was like going, "Then I have to do what?"
Wow.
And she was telling me this story, and
It's a lot of time you got.
of course, then Keith passed away, and she didn't do anybody any favors when she showed up at the funeral with her boy toy. That was not pretty. I'd heard that was pretty ugly, and so that was my Lori Morgan thing. But
Yeah. That's 2 not good Lori Morgan stories. Wasn't
yeah,
her dad George Morgan, who was a famous country singer,
I don't
like
know.
Grand Ole Opry-ish? I feel like,
I don't know. Heck,
yeah, it was definitely uh, it was a learning curve becoming a parent, an instant parent. But,
bet.
it's just been an awesome journey. I mean, my wife, Mitchell, is actually the younger sister of a good friend of mine who, the her and her husband used to always come to Cowboys on Gaston Avenue because they lived in Lakewood. And so we would go to Jim and Donna's house, and Donna is Mitchell's older sister. And so she was like 15 or 16 whenever I first met her, just because she would come in town for like summer, or if there was parties or whatever. And
Mhm.
what I didn't know was that she had a crush on me. Like, I was with my girlfriend at the time, and I never knew anything about this until, okay, so that was like 1993, 94. I never knew this until 2009, that she had a crush on me. Everybody in the family knew, even her husband knew. And so we were singing at Fred's Cafe in Fort Worth.
Mhm.
And Dixie and I we were in my little H3. She's okay. So now you did have her right. Anyways, what was I saying? The, oh, so Mitchell had a crush on me. Well, Dixie and I are driving back from Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I'm driving my little Hummer H3, and the 4-wheel drive goes out. Okay. And we're going from Fort Smith to Fort Worth because we have a gig at Fort Worth at Fred's Cafe. Well, so I call, you know, my boss at the body shop, and I go, "How do I get home? I don't have, I like, but um, it will only drive in 4-wheel high," and he goes, "Okay, you can't go over 55 miles an hour." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh." So basically, I drive all the way to Plano to the Hummer dealership there on Dallas Parkway, and I pull in. I didn't buy it from them, but there's stickers on the back of my truck. and I said, "Look, I need a loaner car. Something's wrong with my truck, but this is my drummer, and we have a gig in Fort Worth. We have to be there like now." And the guy comes out. He goes, "Well, ma'am, you didn't buy your car from us." And I go, "I know. I bought it from D&M Leasing." And he goes, "Well, we're not able to help you or do any kind of warranty stuff." And I go, "Really? That sucks." Because for the last 2 years that I've been driving this vehicle, I've been advertising for y'all because there's a sticker on the back that says Park Place Lexus Hummer. Okay. So I said, I feel like that's worth something. And I said, second of all, you know how it goes. When something bad happens, you tell 10 people. When something good happens, you don't really tell anybody. I go, I fucking need y'all to make this right. I have to be at a gig. I don't have any other car. Fucking make it right, please. I'm begging you. And so the guy finally goes, okay. And they gave me a brand new Saab. And I was like, I'm not really a Saab driver, but okay, I'll take it. And so you should have seen it. It was like a clown car trying to get all of Dixie's drums in there. And we had stands, and we had my guitar, and everything. So we're packed. We come in on 2 wheels of Fred's Cafe. They had already, they were ready for downbeat. And so I get there, I get up on stage, and I look over and I see Donna and Jim and Mitchell and their daughter, and Donna and Jim's daughter, Emma, and their friends, Steve and Jeff. And I mean, like, there's a whole table full, and I have not seen these people in years. Just Emma saw on Facebook that I was playing there. And so they said, "Oh, Mitchell, Liz is playing at Fort Worth. Do you want to go?" And they're all giving her shit about having a crush on me. And she's like, "Well, yeah." And so, anyways, they show up. And so after our first set, she comes up to the stage, her and Donna, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, so great to see y'all." And yeah, I had seen Mitchell in years, and she goes, "I was just wondering if you would sign my booby." And I go, "Ah, short answer, yes. Yes, I will, but your sister's not gonna let me." And anyways, from that day forward, we started talking. But she was married, had 2 kids, and I was like, you know, it is what it is. And so then, feelings started to happen, and I was like, "Okay, this is not good." Because I feel like maybe this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, oddly enough, and that she's got kids and married. And so I knew that having kids was her biggest, that's her thing. She loves her babies. I mean, she's a neonatal therapist. So I told her, I lied to her, and I said, "I fucking hate kids, and I don't ever want them." And she got so pissed, and she fucking kicked me out of the house, threw fucking jeans at me and everything. Get hit back in the head with fucking deodorant. And I'm leaving. So I leave, and I'm bawling because I know I just lied to her. But I was like, if this is going to happen, then she needs to go figure out her shit. I go, you need to go and try and make it work with your husband. You need to do that for you and for your children. And I said, and if that doesn't work, then you need to divorce him. But whatever. I can't be a part of that. And so then she wouldn't stop calling. And so that's when I finally told her I hated kids. We didn't talk for like a year. Okay. And she calls me, and Curtis is in the car with me. We're leaving a gig. Roz is in the back seat. And I had a brand new Ford Flex. And so I never had a car that shows like such and such is calling. And da 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 da. And so I look, and it says Mitchell P. Miller is calling. And I'm like, oh, ah, why is she calling me? Like, she's married. And Roz goes, well, answer it. And so I answer the phone. She was like, hey. And I was like, hey, how are you? She's like, I'm doing great. She goes, I just noticed on Facebook that it looks like you quit your job. Did you quit your job at the body shop or something? And I go, no, we just changed the name of the band to Red River Junction or something because a bunch of people left. And I said, well, how are you doing? And she goes, well, I'm doing great. I got divorced. This still have to wait to finalize it.
You
House is up for sale.
Fucking homewrecker.
Already, she goes, I've already moved to an apartment, and she and her kids are in a 3-bedroom, badass apartment. And I'm dumbfounded. I'm just like, oh my God. So I was like, okay, well, it was really nice talking to you. I gotta concentrate, so I'll call you later. And I hang up the phone and I look back at Roz and I go, she fucking did the deal. She fucking did the deal. Nobody ever does that. Like, oh, I'm gonna leave my husband. I mean, she never told me that, but it just shit like that doesn't happen. And so then we just started talking and it just went from there. And I know that her ex-husband, I thought that, there was shit happening in the background, but that was just his imagination. So anyways, we all get along now, which is really cool. So we get along with her ex-husband and his wife.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So the four of us we parent really well together. It took about 5 or 6 years for him to, get over everything, and that's fine. Never spoken a bad word about him. I mean, I knew them when they were dating. So I said, I knew your dad before your parents were married, And so it's a nice situation now to be able to talk to him, to laugh with them. Once every couple months we meet for drinks, about kiddo stuff. Not so much anymore since they're all out of school, but last last Christmas, they came up. No, it was last Thanksgiving. They came over and they had been at his mom's house, and his mom cooks really well. And so they brought some leftovers, some of her, stuffing and other things that she makes. And then he hands me this neon fucking rainbow. Okay. Now, yeah, I'm a big old queer, but I don't have a fucking rainbow anywhere. I don't have an equal sign anywhere. I usually get called sir. Okay. On the way over here, I was getting gas. Dude walks by, he's like, Billy Idol. I'm like, Billy Idol, battle Idol. So, anyways, now I forgot what I was fucking talking about. Kind of hate that. See, it's being 54, almost 55. I don't remember what I was talking about.
But yeah, when you were talking about, she had called, you guys were kind of hooking.
Oh, that's right. So he comes in and he hands me this rainbow. And he goes, Merry Christmas. And I was like, oh my God. I'm telling you, not one rainbow sticker. I don't know how the gay people stole the rainbow, but they did. And so
Well, we want it back. So
yeah,
enough of
yeah,
this shit.
I'm happy to give it back.
And
So he said,
you and I have known each other for a long time. And I always said one thing about you. One thing I had fun about you was that you and I could sit in the bar and we could check out girls together.
oh yeah.
And we could say, that one's for you, that was for you, that was for you, that was for you. That was a cool thing. But the whole gay thing never came up.
I know. And I hid it for 12 years because there was no gay country artist.
But I always knew it, but we never talked about it because I love you because of you. I don't care about it. I'm like you. I want the rainbow back, knock the bullshit off,
Right?
and the RGB HDMI whatever. No, that's video, but whatever.
Right.
That,
Mhm.
but that and all that stuff. And I tell people go, and I don't badmouth, gay people. I said, I just be happy. That's all you need to do is just be happy. And
It's true.
I said, all my friends that are gay and stuff, they don't go walking around going, look at me, I'm special.
I am just so gay.
I am just, oh my God, if I was any more gay, I don't know what I would be if I was even more gay.
If I was more gay, I'd be Billy Idol.
Yeah, exactly.
I get Ambrell, God rest her soul. I get the dude that does diners, drive-ins, and dives, Guy Fieri.
Oh, Guy Ferrari. Yeah.
I go, dude, I had this hair way before either one of them. Okay, so they kind of copied me, but the Billy Idol one was new. That was a new
Really,
one.
I got to do it.
Yeah, I was like,
cool.
okay. I mean, because usually when I love Home Depot because I love to do woodworking and make charcuterie boards and all this kind of stuff. And so, like, every time I'm in there, they're like, "Can I help you, sir?" I'm like, "Oh, it's ma'am. It's definitely ma'am. I
I,
mean,
I
my
was so
boobs
afraid.
aren't that small."
I was so afraid you were going to come in and go, okay, my pronouns are. I was like, move.
There's no fucking way you thought that. You know me too well. I hadn't changed that much.
No.
maybe I just cry a little bit easier. I'm more sentimental,
We all get that way sometimes, you know.
right?
But yeah, I was waiting for you to come up. My pronouns are this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, my pronouns are get the fuck out now. But yeah, no, I just, it just, that's what I always loved about you is that would, none of that shit was ever even in our minds.
Right.
We didn't care about all that crap. We were
And
just,
I don't know if Bobby Smith or the other people that we're not supposed to name cared or not because I never had a conversation with them about it. The one thing that did happen is Curtis told, I guess, some of the upper people that he said that Roz and I were together and that I was gay. And I got really pissed. And I was like, I have to make this go away because there's no gay people in country music. Or, I mean, there are, but they're not telling you.
yeah.
And so I remember going to the higher ups and they made Curtis apologize to me. And then, later on when he was birthed, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of sorry about that. 'Cause, well, you were right about the gay thing, but I said you weren't right about me and Roz being together, but you were right about the gay thing. Sorry that I made you apologize to me. He's like, fuck it.
It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you knew this or not. When you did your showcase
Mhm.
that one time, and
Yeah.
I was told, somebody asked me from the label if you were gay, and I said, I don't know. And I wasn't going to say yay or nay or nothing
Sure.
because it's none of my fucking business.
Right.
It's the way I've always looked at it. You want to know, you talk to them. I'm
Yep.
not the one to talk to you about that. And
Huh.
so I just said, I don't, and they said, well, because who came in to saw you? He was one of the higher ups.
Yeah, it was Joe Galante
Yes.
and Tom Schuyler.
It was Galante. They kept saying, they go, man, if Joe even suspects that she is, he might not sign her. And I said,
Yeah.
well, I don't think she's going to come out and go, hi, I'm Liz. And,
Yeah.
and I'm special. And I want her and her and her. No, it wasn't like
Right.
that.
Right.
It was never like that.
Mm-mm.
And, and who I felt really bad for was I felt bad for Ty Herman.
Oh yeah, me too. That was just
because Ty he's such a great guy.
just a sweetheart.
He is, and Jim Collins and I talked about him when Jim was on, and Ty was a machine, man. He could sing. I mean, and the only thing we made fun of him was his battery pack for his guitar.
Oh, really?
I'll have to tell you that story in a minute. But when he did that, and they just annihilated him, and I said, guys, he is such an amazing singer. He's an amazing performer. He's never come across like that before, and I don't think he ever has to this day.
Yeah.
And they just berated him, but and I felt so bad for him for that.
And he's one of the guys or one of the artists that could truly, when he's in the studio, to capture his voice. One of the things that I think some of the studio people had a problem with for me was that they didn't ever feel like they got my live performance on a record. And so I was like, I don't really know what to do about that. And then they would say, and also, you're too good at singing the songs of so many different artists. Like, you're too good at singing Reba and Martina and the Judds and Winona. So who the fuck are you? And it was like, you can't fucking use that against me.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure that the gay stuff had whatever to do with it. But all in all, here's how I've come to look at it. Although I could still get choked up about it, you know, all the memories and everything. But I really think that God was protecting me from now with all the social media,
Yeah.
all the Facebook. And he knows I couldn't handle all that, the negative comments.
Oh
No,
no.
I,
No.
I, there's no way that I could have gotten through any of that. So part of me thinks, it was him saving me from, you know, some emotional distress. And the other part is it just, it didn't happen, you know. I've got a great story, you know. When I went to meet Tom Schuyler in his office in Nashville for the actual meeting, the day before, I had I was going back to the hotel, and there was this homeless lady named Sarah. She'd encountered my dad, like at Preston and 635. Then she encountered my brother up at 35 at Walnut Hill, and he gave her a ride to the bus station. My dad let her sleep at his house that night, and then the next day took her to the bus station. She was a homeless woman, and he took her to the bus station to get on a bus to go to Nashville, Tennessee. And so Roz and I are in the car, and we're exiting, and we're thinking about tomorrow's meeting with Tom Schuyler, and I am at the corner of Antioch Road and I-65 at 5 o'clock traffic. Which no, I'm Bell Road in Antioch, Tennessee, and I look over. I've never met this woman, and I look over and I see this lady, and she's holding a sign that says "Need bus fare to Norfolk, Virginia." And I looked at Roz and I go, "Roz, that's Sarah." And she goes, "How do you know?" And I go, "I don't know. I just know." And so I get out of the car, I park it, I walk through all the 5 lanes of, 5 o'clock traffic over to her. And I said, "Ma'am, is your name Sarah?" And she goes, "Yeah, it is." And I go, "Okay, Sarah, this is weird. My dad put you on the bus to get here." She goes, "Oh, your dad's Richard Callender." I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "You have a meeting tomorrow with MGM Records, don't you?" And right before we had exited, I was teary, and all I said was, "God, please let me know that everything's going to be okay." And so she said, "You have a meeting tomorrow with MGM Records, don't you?" And I said, "No, I have a meeting with RCA Records, though." And she goes, "Lord wants me to tell you everything's going to be okay." And I was like, "Holy shit." So,
And so back to what we were talking about, but I have to do this real quick because I want to show y'all what kind of person this woman is, that she brought me this. She made this, and I can't thank you enough. I think that is beautiful. That will be hanging definitely in here.
it was fun making it.
And
It was so
you even autographed the back.
I did.
I've got your autograph. My
You did. And
God.
here's what's cool is that all that is just epoxy resin. So it all
It is
stays
so
shiny.
cool. It's
Glad
def-
that you liked it because it was fun making it for you.
so take that, all you bunch of unicorns that won't show up.
Right. So the next day after I met Sarah at the side of the road, I went into Tom Schuyler's office, and I had been talking to the two publishing girls. They were publishers slash producers that had done some songs for me, and they kind of helped with the RCA thing. Um, Trisha said, "I think that you should go into the meeting and you should tell Tom Schuyler what happened with Sarah." And I was like, "Really?" She goes, "I do." Because she had known Tom for years. Trisha's a singer songwriter. She worked with Shania Twain, and I mean, tons of people. Um, and she goes, "Yeah, I think that he would really, um, I think he'd really be interested in the story and how it all kind of goes together." And so when we were done, he was like, "I will absolutely be in Arlington to, see your showcase." I never spoke with Joe Galante. I think maybe I shook hands with him a couple times in the back room. Um, but I just remember always really liking Tom Schuyler, but thinking, I don't really think you're a music executive. I mean, you're more of a singer-songwriter. He's too kind. He's too kind to be a music director or a music executive. I think he was only president of RCA Nashville for a couple of years, but I mean, the showcase itself in Arlington, I mean, still such a great memory for me. I mean, just
Oh, it
everybody
was
that was
great.
there, and
Yeah,
I've
everybody
got
was there.
pictures of it, and the one other performance that I absolutely loved was when Cowboys let me and Mark Justice do the New Year's Eve show instead of hiring an act to come in, and we did the I'm a cowboy on a steel horse I ride, and then wanted, and then we both ran backstage and ran all the way back down the alleys, came up on stage together, and man, that was a fun show.
Well, anytime that they let you guys do New Year's, you guys, we tore it up every time.
Yeah.
It was never, it wasn't like, oh, they're not bringing anybody in, so we're,
Right.
no, you guys would burn the place down.
And there were people that were like, we don't want you to bring anybody else in.
Yeah.
We want to see them, go the extra mile and have this incredible show on New Year's Eve because you give us a little bit of time. We're all pretty fucking creative.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dino and I talked about that. Remember when Dino used to lay on the stage and we'd fog the stage and you couldn't see Dino? Did you ever see that?
This sounds a little bit familiar. Did he play his guitar laying down?
Well, what we would do is we put in that system that would lay out low. It would just make the fog low lying, and so it would we could fog the stage up, and it would be dark. Well, Dino would go out there to lay on the stage, and he'd be under the fog, and then Bobby would go all the way up by A bar, and he'd get up on the rail up.
Yeah.
And so then when we would start, Dino would start playing, and then he would sit up out of the fog, and everybody would freak out. And he would play a couple licks, and then he'd look, and then the spotlight shifted over to Bobby up
I
off the
remember
rail,
that.
and Bobby would play, and then they would battle back and forth.
But I
And then
don't
we would
remember him
start it.
coming out of the fog. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that one went really well. What was even more funny was that there was we had a big giant CO2 tank in the back, and it fed through the machine, and then it chilled everything and laid it all out.
Right.
Well, there were these lines that came out of it, and they were just metal lines that came out, and they would freeze.
Oh, they get so cold.
And Blackburn just one night decided he's going to go by and stick his tongue on it.
Oh, what did you do in Christmas Story, kid? No.
And he did, and it stuck. He couldn't get loose, and so he just yanked back and took a chunk of his tongue out, and it was still on the damn. And
it was on the pipe still.
It was still on the line. And they go, what are we going to do? And I said, well, I don't know, go get him a Band-Aid or something. I don't know. So then he came in the next day. He was talking funny. He goes, that guy took out my tongue on that thing last night. And I was like going, you think so, genius?
God. And this is way before Google or anything like that. So you can't even go, hey, ChatGPT, do my taste buds grow back?
Yeah.
You're never
you know what? Thank you, God, that we did not have camera phones and all that crap back then, because we'd all been in trouble.
All of us. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's just funny. I tell Mitchell all the time, I'm like, if my guitar could talk, I would probably be in jail and divorced, and probably more. Whatever bad things could happen.
You can go with me on this. Lilith Fair has nothing on us. So there. Take that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Seth needs to stop singing the songs about dogs on commercials.
You know what? I saw an interview with her the other day.
Really?
She had to file a cease and desist on that, because she said, because she charged them nothing for that, She got nothing for that. She said, I did that out of the goodness of my heart because of the animals.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, but that is my most popular song
Yeah.
that I have. And she said, it got to the point to where it was just playing all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. And she said, I finally asked her, I said, can we do something else?
Yeah.
And she finally, because I had to file a cease and desist because I didn't want to, but they needed to stop using it because it's my song
Sure.
and it's
And you're not getting any royalties off of it, and it's being probably detrimental at this point.
well, I
Everybody's made
forget
parodies of it, I'm sure.
when she said she did, I forget. She said how much money they took in, the ASPCA took in because of that. They made millions off of that. And they go, you didn't get a dime for that. She says, no, I didn't want any money. She said, I did it as it's a charity.
Yeah.
And she said, but enough is enough. We had to
Yeah.
stop. And
Yeah.
so I don't think you'll hear it anymore now. No.
No.
I thought that
Now
was
it's
kind of
the
funny.
elephant commercial.
Right?
Now it's the elephant commercial.
The
Say
elephant,
the
yeah.
elephant. And I'm like, anytime those go on, I just start crying. And I'm like, taste.
Oh, I hate when they show those dogs and stuff. Oh, I
Oh,
can't stand that. That's just
I
that's
can't.
terrible.
Yeah.
Liz,
Yes.
it has been a long time.
It has been a
And
long
it's not
time.
we're not gonna wait this long next
No,
time to
we're
do
not.
this
Now I
because
know where you live.
yeah, you know where I am now. So we're in my beautiful studio
Yes, I love
or
it.
whatever.
I love it in here.
I need
And
to
the picture I made you is going to go perfectly somewhere.
I just I need to move pictures around still. I'm still moving stuff around, but that's all right.
Well,
But
working with you was an absolute pleasure. I mean, I don't recall any time uh, ever being upset with you or, anything. And just,
the only person I think I ever fought with as far as the band goes was Marty. He and I just could not click.
yeah,
And I just I wouldn't put up with the shit.
Yeah.
He was just, and you know what? And Marty, I seemed like he was a nice guy.
yeah,
I'm sure he was a great guy, but he and I just never clicked and we just never got to know each other. It was just Marty, you're on, whatever. And we just went our different ways. And even people go now, they go, well, you should get Marty to come on the podcast. And I was like, going, we wouldn't have anything to talk about.
true.
We really wouldn't because
He
we
really
were.
kept to himself. I mean,
He did.
even when I worked with him, like Cowboys Dallas and Cowboys Atlanta, he would get off stage and go to his dressing room. Like he rarely came out to have a beer or a shot or anything.
Yeah,
And
he didn't
he and I
play
didn't
like
really know
we
each
did.
other either, even though we worked together for many years.
Yeah, it was just really just kind of a strange relationship that we had, and we just weren't close. And so I just and I tried to stay close with as many people as I could,
Yeah,
but it was everybody goes their separate ways, and our lives change, and and we do different things. But
yeah.
it's kind of fun to get everybody back together and talk about just goofy stuff that we did
It
over
is.
the years.
It is. My
It
favorite story that I have to tell before we end this is when we were playing Mark Justice and the Law. Uh, Basically, they had become the house band in Dallas before the Arlington Club was finished. And so it was all kind of,
did they become the house band in Dallas before they came to Arlington?
Yes.
I couldn't remember that or not.
Yeah,
So, okay.
they did because I remember Mark and Amy, like they would always go to like the VIP section, be away from everybody. We were like 10, like going, you love each other. So,
God,
the damn it, I'm telling you,
it's the age thing.
it is. What the fuck was I talking about?
Well, you were talking about something going on in Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. Now, oh, Rich, I mean, it's like you were no, I don't know if it's you or Ruben. Anyways, it was about to be downbeat for us. And so we got Dino, and it was not very nice, but we played a trick on him. And So we said, "Hey, Dino, we're all doing shots before we go on. Come on down here." He's like, "All right." And so it's like me and and oh, Elliot and other people. Okay. And so we all do shots, but we made a special shot for Dino. And so we got him a shot of Bailey's Irish cream and a shot of Rose's lime juice.
Oh, you gave him a cement mixer. Oh my God.
We did. And I'm talking 120 seconds before downbeat. Okay. And we go, drink the Bailey's and then drink the lime juice and
You
swish it
guys
around in your mouth. before you drink.
dreaded. Oh,
And all of a sudden he's like,
in case people don't know, a cement mixer, if you take a shot of Bailey's and then you take a shot of Rose's lime juice, well, it curdles the milk inside the Bailey's and it starts to expand. And that's why they called it a cement mixer.
it's the meanest shot.
It is. Oh my.
Worst, well, I guess a bar mat shot.
Yeah, the Matt Dillon was the other one.
The Matt Dillon.
Yeah, the Matt Dillon. Yep.
He was so pissed, and we went on stage, and then like 5 minutes later, he comes from the curtain, and he just plugs in and starts playing. He's like, "I fucking hate all of y'all." We're all so tickled. I don't even know if we were getting through any songs, and nobody in the audience knows why we're laughing.
Half the time, the audience didn't know what the hell we were doing anyway.
That is very true.
Oh my God! If they knew what we were doing backstage and up in the booth and everything else, they'd all lost their mind.
Oh,
It just, talking about the people that we worked with, and somebody asked me like, who was your best and who was your worst,
mhm.
and I always say my best was Charlie Daniels. I just loved him to death. He was just he was amazing.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, and Willie Nelson was cool. I didn't really deal with Willie much because I had threatened everybody. I said, "Do not go on Willie's bus." I said, "Nobody's allowed on Willie's bus."
Because you won't walk off.
Well, who do I catch coming in the back door? I went backstage. Who's coming in the back door is Dale. And I look at him and I said, "Dale, what are you doing?" I had to go out of the car for something. I said, "Dale," and I'm looking at him and I went, "You've been on Willie's bus,
Yeah.
haven't you?" And he
Your
goes,
fucking pants are on fire right
"Yeah."
now,
And
Dale.
he looked down and goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Gavin?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "That's the best weed I've ever had in my entire life." And I said,
Can't even apologize.
"No, he wasn't apologizing for shit. He knew exactly what he did." Well, it's like Toby saying, "I'll never smoke weed with Willie again." That was time Dale was taken. And I thought, "Can you do the show?" And he goes, "Yeah, I should be okay." And I said, "Okay, well, we'll let it go at that." And oh my God, he was a mess.
Didn't make it through the show.
He made it, but it was just, I was sat on my edge of my seat all the time waiting.
Listen, you were a babysitter.
Yeah,
What
and
are you fuckers doing?
for the most part, yeah.
And if it's bad, stop fucking doing it. Okay?
You know how many times I caught people, in the bathroom, pull your pants up and get out of there, please, and send her on her way or whatever's going on.
I remember the one thing that shocked me was in every single Cowboys, especially busy nights. I remember Red River, we had Pat Green, and it was fucking packed. And as all the bathrooms go, the women's bathroom, the women's bathroom is fucking nastiest.
It's the worst. Oh,
It's
it
the
is.
worst.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'd rather use the men's
Yep.
because in the women's, there's toilet paper fucking everywhere, and everything is everywhere, and nobody knows what to do with all the mirrors or, I was like, mm-mm.
Hey, trust me. And that Pat Green thing, I fought with the owner of that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He and I argued about that because I told him, I said, "I want to put Pat Green in here." And he goes, "Oh, we don't want none of that Texas bullshit music here. We got to have country with heart, got to have heart. Remember that? Everything's got to have heart." And I said, "If you let me have Pat Green," I said, "I promise you're going to make money."
Yeah.
Oh, no. And we fought about it, and he finally broke and he let me do it. And we booked him.
Oh, y'all made an ass load.
Oh my God.
I went back at the back and I don't know if it was Cassandra that was there, but I was like, I need toilet paper. And here I come out with loads of toilet paper. I'm the lead singer. But I'm like, hey, we gotta have toilet paper in the women's restroom because now it's getting extra gross. And so here I am putting toilet paper in because the fucking bar is so packed.
It was packed. There was a line around the building. There were people trying to sneak in. There were people that were trying to bribe the floor guys to get in.
Really?
There were the beer companies finally cut me off at midnight. They said, we can't deliver any more after 12. And I said, okay, fine. They came out. I had the beer companies were out 3 times to replace beer because we sold so much that night. That was probably one of the best nights that they'd ever had because when Pat Green played there.
Well,
And
do you remember in Arlington when we got shut down?
which time?
Well, there's one time I remember because I remember being on stage. So I don't know if it was New Year's. I think it was the day after Thanksgiving. Day before Thanksgiving.
Day before
was
Thanksgiving.
always
That
busy.
shit always happened on that
People
day.
were parked on the fucking side of the highway.
Yep.
And finally, you know, they're doing the clicker at the front, which is so accurate.
Not when you tell them, let in 3 and then click 1 in.
Exactly. Yeah. And so then the fire marshal finally showed up and he goes, nope, cut it down. And they shut us down and everybody had to leave. And then they let everybody come back in one by one.
Yeah. And it was dead. It was done after that.
I was like, maybe 100 people came back in or something. It was.
I remember that.
That sucked.
He goes, let me see the clicker. And I showed it to him. He goes, you sure about that? And I said, yep. I said, I've been on the guys all day, but
wasn't capacity like 3,700 or something?
Our max was 5,000.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, for Arlington.
Yeah, Arlington was 5,000.
I'm thinking Dallas, I guess.
But I guarantee you, we had probably 6 in there the night before Thanksgiving.
I was really glad that I could walk backstage to the back of the bar to get a drink because there's no walking.
No, there was no getting through at all. I had to go down the back hallways and stuff to get around because I couldn't move either. It was horrible. But God, those nights were just.
I mean, you got to say that it must have been pretty fucking good to be shut down that many times.
Yeah,
because those 2 were not the only times. We probably should have been shut down many times.
Oh yeah, and when he came in and he was looking at it, and he was looking at the clicker, and he goes, "No," and I went, "Yeah, it is. I swear."
I promise, man.
Showed about 4,800 people on there. I said, "Yeah, that's about right." And he goes, "No." And that's when they shut it down and they rolled everybody out.
How does he know?
Shit. Anybody that hell, Stevie Wonder would have known if he'd have walked in.
I guess you're right.
He goes, "Man, there's too damn many people in this place." Jeez, man, that was nuts.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember that, and they made us take. Everybody had to leave, and everybody could come back in. And there wasn't
one by one. I'm like, and it was my set. I had the last set, and I was like, great, that was fucking awesome. Yeah.
So you got to play for 100 people, 150 people. And,
yeah.
Because once everybody left, they were coming back in.
Do you remember in Cowboys Dallas when Ronnie Millsap played?
No, I wasn't. I don't think I was with them then.
Oh, okay. Well, Ronnie Millsap played there, and you know the back of Cowboys Dallas, like, I mean, it used to be Safeway, so there's not a lot of room.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get his piano in. And so he's like, I mean, I can't play any other piano other than mine, period. So they ended up getting the piano through the front doors somehow and up onto the stage and da-da-da. Well, I mean, incredible show. But the part that freaks you out is he goes to the venue way before he is playing when nobody's there, and he tests the stage out and he counts his steps to the very edge.
Oh, okay.
So he knows, but nobody else knows. And so whenever he comes out from behind the piano and he's just holding the mic, he starts walking. He gets right to the edge of the stage, and everybody's like, "Oh fuck, he's blind and he's gonna fall off the stage." And every time you do it, people go, you could hear like a little roar, and he just laughed, just keep on singing. And so whenever and Curtis was there for that show as well. So Curtis and I were talking about it on the way to a gig one time, and he said, my memory.
It's the age thing, I know.
Damn it. I can't remember.
He just told Ronnie, he said, just don't fall off the stage.
I can't remember. I can't remember. There's no telling with Curtis Randall. Lots of fun stories with him.
Oh, yeah. Curtis was fun.
Yeah. We played at the House of Blues in Dallas, one of my last gigs, with the Mudcats. And Mitchell, my now wife, came out to see me. And she walks in and she has on like fucking 5-inch heels that are, red patent, whatever, little bottoms, whatever. The kind with fucking colored bottom. And this outfit, she looked phenomenal. And so we're up on stage. There's not a lot of people there yet, and we're still tuning in and everything. Curtis looks up and he goes, "Holy shit." And I go, "What?" He goes, "Look at that fucking girl walking in. Oh, she's hot." And I look over and I go, "Hey, Curtis, she's mine." And he goes, "God damn it."
That's mine. That's all
I'm
mine.
like, don't even. He's like, "Well, I'll look." I'm like, "You can look all you want. It's only flattering for me."
Yeah, hey, you sitting there going, that's all mine.
Right.
Well, Liz, I just want to say thank you for the gifts, first of all.
Oh, absolutely.
And thank you for coming down and doing this. I know we could have done it virtually, but you're not very
No,
electrically.
no, I can't. I don't do like Zoom calls. Like, you'll never see me, or sometimes you'll see me and not hear me. Yeah.
Yeah, one of
It's a
those
bad
things, though.
situation. And I wanted to hug your neck.
Yeah, no doubt.
was
Man, we haven't seen
selfish.
each other in forever, so. But
It's been wonderful, and it won't be the last time I hope.
no, hell no. We're going to do this again for sure.
We still have more shit to talk about.
Oh God, we could.
Man,
I mean, I'm looking at our time now. I'm like going,
because
geez.
I have a lot of shit to edit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got some editing to do, but I'll be out. We'll be all right.
I still have the story about me and my brother getting in a bar fight and going to jail when I was 17 and he was, 20. Fuck. Yeah, we have a lot. So.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get on the next one. So.
I'm gonna bring some pictures next time because I have a picture of you sitting on the side of my mom's pool. We had that big ass party, and it was just like a big pool party, and everybody cowboys showed up. But you're in like blue swim trunks, and you're just sitting on the side of the pool, and there's a crowds of people. That's where Jim was in a wheelchair.
Everywhere I went, I had a crowd of people around me. I don't know what the hell that was, but
well, that's a good thing.
it is. It's always a great thing. So, but anyway,
I'll come back anytime.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
You know I love you to death.
Oh, I love you so much.
You are one of the best. I'm so glad that you did this, and we'll do it again. I promise you that.
And I promise to answer the phone or return your call.
Or at least answer the text or something.
There you go.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, my blast from the past.
Y'all be good, but not too good.
Miss Liz Callender. Thanks, guys. You guys take it easy. And he don't want to do it.
Thanks for joining Epic Stage Journeys and then some. Stay well, and we'll see you down the road.